Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Annie Frey Show. Happy to be with you on what has been a beautiful Wednesday afternoon so far. We are grateful for the opportunity to hang out with you here at lunchtime. Reminder, keep us on your radio station, 97.1 FM Talk throughout the day. Mark Reardon comes in here after I'm done, and we will be ahead of the news throughout the course of the day. David Asman is going to join us here in about 15 minutes from right now. I'm looking forward to talking to him about the economy. There's so much discussion right now about like the health of the economy, affordability. I think it's true, Ryan, that there are, people are looking at affordability like it is an issue, but also it's certainly being made to be an issue because of the political outcome of what we're looking at.
Yeah, I mean, certainly looking back over 4 years when Biden was making this problem what it is, there was no real political discussion of this from the left at all. Republicans were talking about it, but I really feel like Republicans are still talking about it. I don't think that it's become like, oh, well, now that Trump's in office, we should avoid that issue. We're still talking about it now.
It's disingenuous to think that like it all of a sudden became an issue when President Trump got in. And I think people know that, but the folks who don't pay attention to politics on the long haul, they may not quite put two and two together because things are unaffordable, and then elections happen, and then that's when you start tying the two together. So there's this one story I want to get to a little bit later in the day. I need to know if you guys have seen it yet, though. Have you seen this guy who was running around Philadelphia dressed up in this baby mask?
No.
No?
No, this is news to me.
You haven't seen this? Like harassing people? There's a bit of
I saw a screenshot of that. I didn't know what it was.
There's a bit of a visual that goes along with it. So, last night they were covering it on Jesse Waters, and my daughter was sitting next to me, and she was doing like Prodigy or something on a computer. It was like a math program. And I was watching the screen on the television, and I was watching her just to make sure. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it because I think that's the type of thing that can't be unseen. What have you consumed in this story?
I just saw either a still or just a couple shots of this, because it's nighttime, right? It's a nighttime camera looking at this person in this baby mask, and it's like a horror movie.
It's terrible. So let's see here. This is a story from Fox Chattanooga. Bystander kicks man accused of terrorizing Philadelphia in Chucky-style mask. It says a bystander who confronted a suspect accused of terrorizing people in Philadelphia while wearing a Chucky-style mask. Is this newfound Chucky? I don't understand.
I didn't think that was a Chucky mask.
Is sharing how she tried to warn a jogger being followed before ultimately kicking the masked man in the chest. Wow. Jamaica told ABC7 that after she tried to alert the jogger, the suspect turned his attention toward her, prompting her to scream for help. He just seemed so disoriented about what his actual goals were. Like, I had bags. He wasn't reaching for those. It didn't seem like he had a clear goal to actually do anything. So I was like, okay, well, let's see if you can fight. And he couldn't. So the Philadelphia Police Department, according to this report on Fox Chattanooga, said the suspect, believed to be a black male between 16 and 20 years old, chased a 40-year-old woman on August 12th, so this is like a week ago, around 5:30 a.m. and made threatening comments, including, quote, "Are you ready to die?" He was, quote, wearing a white baby doll-style Halloween mask with black hair and blue-black backpack. Police said the suspect is wanted for terroristic threats, simple assault?
Just, no
basic.
big deal. Yeah, just basic
Yeah,
assault.
basic. Simple assault and related offenses. Investigators believe the masked man recorded the encounters, but it remains unclear whether they were part of a social media trend. That's what I was wondering. Wasn't there some goofy butt thing that took place, I don't know, like a decade ago? Maybe it wasn't that long ago, but there was something weird going on. I feel like it was in Central America, maybe South America, but it turned out to be marketing for a scary movie.
Oh, this wasn't the alien that they found in Mexico City, was it? Is that what you're thinking of?
My recollection is not thinking aliens, but it was just like horror film.
Okay.
And I just said to myself, like, is it possible that somebody could be doing this, and then all of a sudden we're upon crisp air season.
I don't know.
If you're gonna start putting out scary movies right now, like, I don't know. I'm suspicious of everything. Like, this guy, this scary guy is gonna walk up to me on a sidewalk, and I'm gonna be like, I'm not gonna see your movie. Just leave me alone. And then I die. That would be bad. How do you handle somebody who walks up? This guy doesn't look in stature like he's super imposing. So from a physical, like mano-a-mano kind of a situation, I'm 100% certain I'm first fight to create space and disorientation, which is probably stupid, and then I'm flight.
So right when you started reading this story, I immediately said, this is a 17-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Who is having fun. It sounds like he crossed the line, not just with the scary stuff, but with being like, you want to die? Like,
yeah.
That's like, nah, that's not funny anymore.
This is a movie, like a 1980s kids movie where they come out and it's just different. It's different now.
Right. Yeah, this is something that 4 decades ago, you'd be like, kids will be kids. But now you got to worry that they might have needles in their hands and they're going to shoot them at you.
Or a gun.
Or whatever.
I mean,
you can't take the threat lightly, regardless.
Are you fighting this person? Let's say
I don't know.
Let's say your size, or maybe your size plus 20%. Are you?
Okay.
What does Ryan Wiggins go into that moment creating space with your physical prowess?
So in this scenario, I'm in a cute outfit. I'm jogging. This person comes up to me. I'm going to kill you, ready to die.
Matching Lulu.
I don't really, I'm probably wearing something kind of tight. I don't have guns on me. You can see that I don't.
Not the physical guns.
Not the physical guns. Firearms. You can see my guns, but you can't see that I have firearms.
It's the sports bra.
All of that to say, yes, I am fighting that guy. Whoever, I mean, what else are you going to do? I guess you could just run, but if they're...
You can't outrun a gun. With the way this guy is presented, you don't know what kind of weaponry they have on. Because he runs after this person originally, this jogger or whatever. If they've approached you and they bear down on you and you can't see everything that they are bringing into this confrontation, I'm looking at them and immediately thinking, if I can hurt this person or incapacitate them even for 10 seconds by kicking them in the crotch, then I'm doing that. And then I'm screaming and running into a well-lit area, hopefully.
Yeah, does it say where it was?
It
like
says
there was nobody else
was.
around?
This is why you shouldn't run in the morning or at the night.
Or at all.
Yes, you could experience danger.
Yeah, you really shouldn't do anything, ever, because there's danger.
Stay inside where it's safe.
Yeah, just close the door and wear your mask.
Is there? I mean, do you feel like there's any possibility that this is marketing? It's too crazy to be marketing.
No, I just don't. No, it's in Philadelphia, so it's like, well, it's not a small city, so maybe. But if it was in New York or L.A., I'd be like, there's a possibility. I don't know about Philadelphia.
I don't know. It's scary, though.
It definitely is, because I can see the picture. And yeah, it's just some dude wearing the scariest possible mask.
YouTube poll for us today here. This is a heavy one, folks. It's back to school, but back to school right now, I know for a lot of you, back to school isn't. I didn't take. Jared took her. Molly went to kindergarten this year, so that's kind of a big thing.
Yep.
I will say kindergarten for your fourth is not the same as kindergarten for your first. There is a different bittersweetness to it, but treading water with 4 kids is so consuming that you just have more perspective. And I just started thinking about the people, I'm bringing Molly to kindergarten for the first time this year. And my son is now an upperclassman. He's a junior in high school. So I know what is coming in the next 2 years. The first 2 years of high school went so fast. The second 2 years are going to go even faster. The question for you, which is harder, bringing new kids home, the baby phase, or watching grown children leave?
I have a definitive answer to this because I haven't done one of them yet.
And you brought twins home the first time.
And the first time was twins. It was so hard.
Do you think it's possible that watching your kids leave would be harder?
No, it would be sadder. It's going to be a lot sadder, but it will not be harder. That was so hard. They say the divorce rate for people who have twins is like 2 or 3 times as high. Because it's just such a strain.
Do you know the time frame of like when you're like, okay, we made it, we're over the hump on that divorce rate thing?
It's probably
4.
Yeah, it's probably 2 or 3.
Yeah,
because it's those first couple of years are just insane, so hard. And going from 0, I've heard that going from 0 to 2 is harder than if you already have 1 and you go to 3. But no matter what, every parent of twins that I've ever talked to has said there's nothing that can prepare you for.
You look at each other
for it.
and you're like, you're in a
You
club.
just know. Well, especially when they're little babies. Like if you see somebody pushing 2 babies at once, you can just be like, I know where you're at. It's tough. And so, yeah, even parents who say they've had 2 or 3 kids before having twins say it's still just work. It's different. It's harder. And there's nothing that can get you ready for it.
I would imagine twins not being your first, if your older kids are older, that the assistance that you have along the way is...
It's got to be better than just 0 to 2.
Yeah, that seems a little wild. I would really love your text messages today. Depending on how the show goes, we might open the phone line. I'm not 100% sure if we'll do that today just to talk about this. But there are a lot of you listening right now who I know are... You've dropped your kids off. You've set up the dorm room. You did the drive away. I know Mark Cox did this recently with his youngest. And, I can't fathom empty nest right now. My life is very hectic, very full, very blessed, not complaining. But you and I have talked about this a lot, Brad, that a lot of times people are like, oh, you're going to miss this. Like, hold on tight or whatever. So then you're panicking the whole time that you're stressing out, and you shouldn't be. So now I'm stressing about that. So there's a lot to it. And I know that there are people who are here with us right now listening to this show who are on both ends of the spectrum. Maybe you've got grandbabies and you're watching your babies bring home babies, and it's just a lot. So get on the Annie Frey YouTube channel. Leave comments there. Brad's watching those. Go vote in the poll. Which is harder? Bringing new babies home, watching grown babies leave. And weigh in today. We'll reflect on that in the 2 o'clock hour for sure. So keep it right here. We're going to speak with David Asman. He's a Fox Business anchor about the economy coming up next. Don't go away. So let's talk about what's happening at the Funny Bone this weekend. I hope you all got to see Joe DeVito this past weekend. Great shows when Joe DeVito was in town. But we have coming up right now at the St. Louis Funny Bone. You can go to stlouisfunnybone.com to get your tickets. Willie Lynch Jr., a veteran comedian from East St. Louis, so he's one of ours right here in the St. Louis area. Willie Lynch Jr., he's appearing at the Streets of St. Charles Funny Bone Thursday through Sunday. You can check out Willie Lynch Jr. and see why Kevin Hart called him Langston Hughes with a punchline. Joe List is going to be here as well. He's at the Westport Funny Bone Thursday through Saturday. List is a stand-up comedian, writer, and actor whose movie 4th of July played in theaters all over North America. Has released 3 specials on YouTube. They've totaled over 14 million views there. These are awesome opportunities to go. Bring a friend, bring your spouse, go on a date, get the girls together, the guys together, and have some laughs. Relax a little bit at one of these 2 incredible establishments that St. Louis gets to call their own. All the tickets for Willie Lynch Jr., for Joe List, and everything coming up, you can find them online right now at stlouisfunnybone.com.
Wages up 3.5% year over year is a big deal. Why? Because it's really, really difficult to bring prices down. They ran up under the Biden administration. Bringing those prices down is tough. But Trump has dramatically slowed inflation. If you can slow inflation, especially get it back to the Fed's target of 2%, and you've got wages going up 3.5%, if wages are going up more than prices, more than inflation, you will start to feel better.
So Sandra Smith talking about the wage gap, the affordability gap, the inflation to how much money is coming into your checking account. It's a political football for a lot of people who are looking right now to maybe gain your vote for political office. They're saying it's unaffordable, but those folks didn't seem to care about it a few years ago when maybe a different person was in charge. So what is the real truth here? How are wages doing right now compared to the last administration and where they need to be? Let's speak to our guest. David Asman joins us now, Fox Business anchor. You can follow him at David Asman Fox. David, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for the time today.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
So can you just give us some comparison, a reality check, I think, if you will, because numbers, they don't lie. How is this administration doing on trying to increase those wages coming into the checking account, on the kitchen table, so on and so forth?
Okay, first of all, the flat-on figures, and these figures come from the Treasury Department, they come from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they come from credible sources which have been used by economists for decades and decades. So this is not political rhetoric. This is just the numbers, or just the facts, ma'am, as the television show used to say. Under President Biden, under 4 years of President Biden, which is a fair amount of time to judge whether a president's policies are working or not, the average American real wages, now what's meant by real wages is inflation-adjusted wages. That means how much every dollar in your pocket can buy. Real wages went down 3.9%, almost just one click short of 4%, 3.9% decline in how much your wages could buy at the supermarket, whether you're buying a big ticket item like a car or a dishwasher or whatever. Your ability to buy that went down by 3.9%. During the past 2 years of Donald Trump's administration, more or less, your ability to buy things, real wages have gone up 1.2%. Now, 1.2% sounds pretty piddling. It doesn't sound like a lot of money. But the point is it's going in the right direction. Also, inflation is going in the right direction. Prices surely haven't gone down as much as they were before the pandemic, before 4 years ago, before Trump's second term. They haven't gone down that much, but they are rising at a slower rate now. So the rate of inflation is also coming down. So not only are your wages able to buy more goods at the store or wherever you're looking to buy them, but long term, the prospects look good in terms of inflation going down. Eventually, we're going to see interest rates stay. There was a big drop in interest rates for several reasons that we can talk about, a little more complicated. But the long and short of it, you lost money under Biden. You're gaining money under Trump. That's the fact. Now, when pollsters go out and ask people, how do you feel? You know, if you just came back from paying, I don't know, $30, $40 for a pound of meat, if it's a prime piece of meat, you feel not only upset, but you feel like things are going in the wrong direction for you. You ask people how they are feeling about their job, for example, and about the prospects for getting another one if you're not happy with where you are. You're looking around and you're thinking, gee, there should be more jobs. I hear all this talk about AI and all the jobs that it's generating and so forth. I should have a better prospect than I feel that I do have. Feelings are one thing, but the question is where you put your money. If you're really feeling desperate, if you're really feeling like your job is at risk, like you may not be able to pay the rent next month, you don't go out and buy things. Well, people are going out and buying things. The retail sales numbers that's another hard indicator that people are putting people are not putting their mouth where their money is, because their money indicates that upset about is not actually coinciding with the way they're spending money. Now, a lot of that, of course, is the high rollers, the people with making $200,000-$300,000 a year, are not putting off their vacations. That's true. They're going out and spending more. The people that have money in the stock market, because of course the stock market has been going gangbusters for the past year and a half. They're looking very fine. Not every American has stock or interest in stocks. Most Americans do. Over 50% of households do have some form of stock ownership, whether it's in their 401k or they're buying stocks through their own account or whatever it is. They have some form of stockholders. But that leaves about 40% of the population that doesn't. Of course, a lot of Americans would love to buy a house right now, particularly young Americans. The age at which Americans can afford a house has gone up and up and up. It used to be, 20, 30 years ago, it was in the late 20s when people would buy their first property on average. Now it's in their late 30s. So, there is a great deal of difficulty at this moment. We still haven't yet recovered the workers we need, the equipment we need, the lumber we need to provide the kind of housing that we need or that people want, at any rate. There are efforts being made in that direction as well, too. We should mention, by the way, that Canada, it looks like Canada's just made a deal with Trump vis-a-vis its own tariff situation. He's going to drop the tariffs 50%. And we get a lot of lumber from Canada, a lot of it, to build badly needed homes. If their tariffs go down, we're going to be able to afford cheaper housing. Some people have also suggested that maybe what Trump should do, he may be able to do this by executive order. They're not sure. We're still looking at the legalities of all this, but just develop some policy with regard to eliminating all tariffs for the ingredients to put together a house, whether it's lumber, whether it's the hardware that you use in plumbing materials or electrical materials. Just eliminate all of the tariffs that are associated with that to make it much cheaper to actually build a house. Things like that are on the table as well. So I would not be as gloomy as a lot of the consumer sentiment figures that you see.
Yeah, it's such an interesting take on it. Just a couple thoughts on what you've said there. It's interesting that our excess consumerism here in the United States of America is creating an affordability issue for people who are not willing to say no to things, and that their answer is socialism right now in certain areas of the country. That seems bizarre. But back to the home building thing right now, if those implementation suggestions that you've made regarding making, lumber more accessible and therefore more affordable, does that benefit the businesses that are building these homes, or does that get all the way down to the consumer who says, okay, I'm not going to take a house that's on the market, I'm going to build my own? Does that help that person afford that house?
It's not them versus us. It's both. You can both succeed. Both the house builders would like to have cheaper materials to build with, and the home buyers would like to be able to pay less per square foot of lumber than they are right now. So it's not, that's the socialist jargon that, it either benefits the consumer or the producer. It can't benefit both at the same time. Well, that's wrong. It can. You can both have happy producers and happy consumers if they're paying less in regulatory costs, if they're paying less in taxes, if they're paying less in those impediments to buying what they want or selling what they want.
It can and it should, and I hope that it does. Are you hopeful right now that the economic principles that have been put into place in this administration will continue this kind of growth?
They will, in terms of regulatory policy, because, like it or not, for the Democrats, Donald Trump is going to be able to fill out his next term. God willing, he's healthy and everything, but he's got another 2 years, and most of the regulations, at least the federal regulations in the United States, come directly from the Oval Office. So he will make sure that regulations concerning energy, which of course has led to this tremendous boom in the energy market. Of course, it's been stalled because of our conflict with Iran. Hopefully that will get under order soon. I mean, I'm praying that it does, for not just pocketbook issues, but in terms of our troops as well. But the kind of deregulation that we have seen, where for every new regulation you have 10 regulations that are taken away, that we've seen in the Trump administration. It was just the opposite with Biden. There were far more regulations created than many people think are necessary, and that added to the cost of inflation as well. Those will remain till the end of Trump's term anyway, no matter what happens in the midterm elections. However, you got to look at the socialist threat that you alluded to before. I mean, there are people that are persuaded by the easy way that you can get everything for free if you just let it happen, if you force companies to do it. Well, if you force companies to make things for a cost that is less than what they paid for it, they're going to stop making things. And that's the problem with price regulation, which is what government has done very often. It's the first thing that socialists do when they get in office. They have, here in New York City, where I live, you have these rent controls. The rent for about 2/3 of the market. Actually, it's a rent freeze that Mayor Mamdani, who's a socialist, has put in power here. But he had this rent freeze. Well, what happened? The other 1/3 of rental units on the market increased their rents by 10%. Now the average rent for an apartment in New York City, the average monthly rent is $6,600.
Oh my gosh!
That's the average rent in New York City, and that's because of rent control, not in spite of rent control. That's because of rent freezes, not in spite of rent freezes. So it's just the opposite that happens, because what happens when you have price controls? Companies that have to make a profit, if they don't make a profit, they go out of business. Before they go out of business, they stop making that product, whether it's a house or food or whatever it is. And price controls always, it's the only thing economists agree on. Price controls always lead to shortages. By the way, why do we have prices so high in houses right now? Because we don't have enough houses, because there are too many regulations, there are too many price controls on those factors that are involved in making a house. So you get rid of price controls, and you're going to see an excess of people getting into markets that they got out of because they couldn't make a profit in them. Our system is based on making a buck. If you can't make a buck doing what you're doing, you're not going to do it anymore. You're going to try to do something else or move to some other place where you can. A lot of the apartment builders here in New York have moved to Texas or moved to Florida or moved to places where apartments are booming because the population is growing, because everybody's leaving New York and California.
You said that $6,000 rent number, and thousands of Midwesterners just fell out of their chair.
Oh, I'm sure.
Driving off the road
ridiculous
here in St. Louis. That's outrageous to imagine. Certainly different than here in St. Louis, but still very analogous. We appreciate your time, David Asman.
My
Thank you
pleasure.
for being with us. We'll talk to you again.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. David Asman is a Fox Business anchor. Great to talk to him and just get the numbers, get the facts. There are charts that you can read that show that wages under Trump are up. And, does it matter that they were down catastrophically under Joe Biden? Not to these people. I don't understand the standards. If you didn't have double standards, you wouldn't have any at all. That's what they say. Let's break here. Ryan will come back in. I want to go to the text line and the YouTube chat for your initial reaction to our YouTube live chat poll. When you're parenting, which is harder, bringing new babies home or watching your grown children leave? You can text us at 314-241-9797, 314-241-9797, or comment on the Annie Frey YouTube live chat. Go subscribe to us there and vote in this poll. Let us know what you think. Don't go away. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Well, we are asking you to weigh in on this question for parents, which is harder, bringing new children home or watching grown children leave? That is the YouTube live chat poll today, probably in light of school starting. I think that's what's on our minds, but we want to know from you how you would respond to that question between the two. 314-241-9797 if you'd like to text in, or Brad will be watching the stream. If you are watching us live right now, you can leave a comment there and vote. 1236, this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
So I don't want to take too much time. A lot of times in this segment, it bleeds over into what would traditionally be Wiggins America time. And the subject for today on Wiggins America is things men do secretly that women don't know. And I'm just assuming, Ryan, that a majority of these things maybe should still be secret.
They have been up until now. Like, this will be a huge groundbreaking segment.
Are you like out of the man group? Is this against the code or something? It seems like it would be against the code.
It is. It's an unspoken code, and that's part of one of the secrets is that there's a code. But it's a lot like, Brad, you could probably speak to this. It's probably a lot like the magician's code. You're not supposed to reveal the tricks, but some people do, and then they can get famous doing it, and that's what I'm hoping for.
You're just trying to be first in wins.
Yeah.
Sources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to have a whole herd of men chasing you, but you're like, I made my money.
Yeah, it'll look like the Beatles, and I'll be Paul.
Okay. The reason why I came up with this YouTube poll for today, for parents, which is harder, bringing new children home or watching grown children leave, has a lot to do with my social media timelines, the one where I actually see real people that exist in my real life, and they're real kids, and I see dorm rooms and cute backpacks on little kids that are smaller than the backpack is the size, you know?
Yeah.
Adorable, and just like a scroll of heavy emotion. And I think that as a parent, when you see all those things, you inevitably go, where am I in proximity to that? If you're out of the kindergarten years and I post a picture of Molly going to kindergartner, you're looking at Molly, and of course she's adorable and she's cute. But you're not thinking of Molly. You're thinking of when yours were kindergartners. And when I look at people with their kids waving goodbye to them while they're going into their college, you know, I don't know, these are all such pose pictures, but that's okay. Or in their dorm room, sitting on their beds. I'm now thinking about that part of my future. So, yes, we all have this kind of self-centered view on all of these things, and social media has a way of pouring that into our the way that we consume everything. The reason why I came up with this, though, there's a headline on FoxNews.com, and this is a really interesting story to me. Everybody Loves Raymond star Patricia Heaton is recalling the moment nearly 10 years ago when she decided to become sober.
10 years ago.
10 years ago. I love Patricia Heaton. She's very pro-life. She's very outspoken on that. I think she's an incredible actress, but also I like this. Following her on X, I consider that a good follow. She said during an interview with Women's World, Heaton shared that before the coronavirus pandemic, her children left her home and she didn't know how to spend her time. Right before the pandemic, my children had left home and I wasn't working. The things that had always anchored me, my family and my work, were gone. I started thinking, what am I supposed to do today? Now I'll dip back into the story here throughout the course of this show, but essentially she didn't just like become a full-blown alcoholic, but she realized like she'd had, okay, well, I'll have a glass of wine with dinner because I don't have to be anywhere and not having to pick people up. And then the glass of wine with dinner became a glass of wine in the afternoon too. And one thing leads to the other. So her story there is on foxnews.com. We'll talk a little bit about it throughout the course of the show. But her quote here, the things that had always anchored me, my family and my work, were gone. I started thinking, what am I supposed to do today? Not what am I supposed to do, but what do I do today? Like, that's a much more granular, you know, you could try to keep yourself busy, but to what extent? Do you just busy yourself over and over and over again? And I could see how there would be a lot of internal crisis that would exist in, what is my purpose now? because it's been so consumed in the moments where I am currently, where my life is my kids. And that's okay. I'm happy about that. I mean, I have a few things like the show and you guys. But I'm going to be honest. I'm here. I'm doing a job. I'm making a paycheck. I'm feeding my family. We've got some reaction coming in on the Annie Frey Show text line at 314-241-9797, as well as where you can vote in the actual poll, where we give you the results at about 2:55 each day. That's on the Annie Frey YouTube channel and our live broadcast in the live chat. So Brad's got the live chat on the YouTube. Ryan, 314-241-9797. For parents, which is harder, bringing new babies home, watching grown children leave?
I'll read a few in the order they have come in. Hey, Annie.
Hi.
Dennis the architect here.
Dennis.
Empty nest is awesome.
Oh, say it again, please.
That's it. And lots of exclamation points in that one. The very next one says, from Balls, says, bringing them home was difficult or physically harder. Watching them leave is harder mentally.
Pick one.
Yeah, he didn't.
And people.
He just said it.
Pick the one
each
I've
one.
already done, please.
And then right after that, the hardest part for me was having an adult child move back in. That's not part of the poll.
I want more details on that.
That's all it says.
There's an in-between there. I did that with my parents for a while, and it was like, okay, we both can't do this very long.
I did the same thing. It was fine, but I was old enough that I was ready to move out.
Yeah. Brad?
Yeah, Rhonda here says that it's newborn, bringing newborn home. I got a little misty when my oldest went to college, but it was Lindenwood, and then got married after being on his own.
But it was Lindenwood.
Yeah. I think what that means is it was here.
It was here, yeah.
And then they went on
to
to
say, Ethan's mom?
Maybe. So my youngest left and is currently in my basement. And
Sounds like your youngest didn't.
Yeah. Is he alive?
Yeah.
And then Rick says, harder to see them go. You're not sure when they'll return.
Ah!
Ooh.
Rick! You go sit in the corner. Hurt my heart.
This is from Randy. Just came in. Says, for me personally, it was definitely more difficult watching them leave home, particularly when my youngest left home. I found myself grossly unprepared for the reality of an empty nest.
Give us the feedback too. Like, that's got to be just the emotional part of it, right?
It is.
Because I think that, I mean, if I showed you my calendar right now, you'd be like, what? When do you sleep? Like, how do you do what you do? People say that to me all the time. They're like, how do you do all of this? And it's literally just minute by minute. I'm living minute by minute. I'm constantly, my husband and I are always saying to each other, what's next? And then we just do that thing. And I do drop the ball from time to time. It's never intentional. I feel bad every time that I do it, but we're just doing the best we can. I got to be honest. It seems like it would be nice to maybe be a little more casual going through my day, or maybe not having anything on the schedule and Jared and I go golfing or fishing or shopping or napping or something like that. I don't know. So I can see the benefits on the other side of it, but at the cost of being with your people, they're still little for me, though. Keep voting. Keep giving us your feedback as well. 314-241-9797 on the Annie Frey Show text line. And Annie Frey on YouTube. Wiggins America, spoiling the secrets, things men do that women don't know. Next. So let's talk about Home Shield Foundation Repairs.com. 314-271-9900. 314-271-9900. Home Shield Foundation Repair can help you with your basement waterproofing. This is really important, especially as we get into that kind of rainy fall season. You don't want to be dealing with water making its way into your basement. Now it's worse than you thought it would be. Home Shield Foundation Repair, Matt Hayes, local guy, great crew, born and raised, grown, this business is born and raised, grown out of St. Louis. They are there to help you with this process. And also right now, if you need to get your basement waterproofed and you're thinking, gosh, what's it going to cost? How am I going to make this work? You're investing in the foundation of your home. So you need to make sure that it gets done right the first time. How about 0% financing for 24 months? if you go with Home Shield Foundation Repair. You can look at all of the services that they offer for foundation repair on their website, or you can call them directly at 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. And make sure you mention Annie when you do. You can find them online at homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
Wiggins!
Oh! Wiggins!
All right, things men do secretly that women don't know about.
What are the odds that we know all of these things and you think it's a secret?
Well, that's what we're going to find out. That's why we do the segment, is we got to find these things out.
Science.
Yeah, and Ethan's joining us too. Brad, you guys
Got to get a real man in the room.
We got to find out whether we get a consensus that
profanity
no cussing
off mic. Okay.
Yeah, no cussing in the studio.
Is it masculine to cuss?
Yeah. Yeah, it's super masculine to cuss. That's why women shouldn't do it.
You darn tootin'.
Darn tootin' is not masculine, but is still great and funny.
Okay.
I actually wanted to call a sitcom I was writing one time.
Darn tootin'. Is it about farts?
No, it was a Branson-based show involving some of the bald knobbers that I was hired to write.
What is a bald knobber?
I was
Can
like,
we just get to the segment?
you guys need to change the name of the show to Darn Tootin'.
I'm worried.
They wouldn't do it.
First thing.
All right, first thing is men don't actually hate bathroom stops on road trips. They hate getting back on the road and seeing cars they already passed. That's like some unspoken race that's happening. True or false, Brad?
That's true.
Yeah, we don't hate
true.
stopping. It's that you see that truck you already passed once, and you're like, right by me again.
Listen, all driving is a race. It doesn't matter if you're actually racing. All driving is a race. And that might not make sense to some people out there, but anytime you pass someone, at least for me, in my mind, I am on...
You have won.
I am in the Daytona 500, and I just passed someone, I'm getting closer to first. So when you lose all of that ground because of a couple of minute pee stop,
You should feel shame.
cuts deep.
It does cut deep. I will go a step further and say that when there's nobody on the road, if I'm just driving the interstate with myself, I'm going like 60 miles an hour. I'm not paying attention. It's just fine. But in traffic, I'm like, oh, I need to be going much faster than this because other people are passing me.
You think women don't do that?
I don't know.
You think that's a
That's
man?
why we're
I think
talking.
it's specific to men.
Yeah, I kind of did. At least the stop part. Now, I'm not sure about the keeping up with other people part. But does that drive you crazy to make a bathroom stop for
Have
that
you
same
ever
reason?
thought about that, Annie?
First of all, I am famous for bladder control and not having to stop. I'm like, we're going to roll past the door. You're going to get out, and I'm not going to even stop this vehicle, and you're going to get back in if you want to go home.
Woof.
No kidding.
Let's go.
Is it because of that, though? Is it because you don't want other people to pass you that you've already passed?
Yeah.
Or is it just about
it's
generally
not,
making
I'm
good
not,
time?
I'm not, yes. To me, it's all about the number on the Google map that says your arrival time is this.
Can I beat it?
And I want to be there sooner than that. And if I'm there 5 minutes later, I feel defeated.
Okay.
So I completely understand that sentiment. I don't know. I would imagine it's more of consistent with men than women, but the women I drive with, I mean, they're right there with you.
Okay. Because generally, it's the woman who's like, why do you care about stopping so much? So you may be rare in that instance.
I don't know. I've only been in one relationship really where that's the case. So
The next one also has to do with bladder control.
okay.
Sometimes the morning pee doesn't go where you want it to go.
That's not a secret. We see it all over the place.
But it's always a surprise to the man.
Well, you should keep it that way. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone else. Actually, I don't have that problem in our house. But I've never really thought about it. I mean, if based on the gas station bathrooms that I've been in that are now unisex, which should be against the law. It should be a federal law that gas stations cannot have men and women peeing in the same one. Gas station bathrooms are the worst of the worst. And now we've got to sit in man urine all over the place. You've got to be freaking kidding me.
Yeah, that's a problem. But I want to
Terrible.
add, this should not, I really don't. I don't get how this should apply to a urinal. A urinal is a catch-all, no matter if you have good aim or not.
Just
you
pee
should be able to
in
hit
the drain
the urinal
on the floor.
You're
not on the seat that
standing-
I have to sit on.
You're standing up next to where you're peeing. Even if you have bad control, you should be able to hit the urinal, dude.
Wait a second.
Do people not hit
Dudes
the
have
urinal?
problems with
Well,
urinals?
There's pee on the floor below urinals all the time. And I really don't get that.
I think that's probably it's probably one, kids, and then two.
Drunk people.
Well, I wouldn't even
At
say that.
work?
I would say probably like
it here?
It splashes sometimes.
Oh,
When,
God.
not
when there's
that
a
much.
when there's a river,
It's
like and
lunchtime.
it's streaming.
Plus,
sometimes
dude,
it bounces out.
First of all, congratulations on your healthy prostate.
Clean it
But
up.
Second, if it's bouncing back, it's going to hit you. It's not going to go like around the bottom
No,
of the
sometimes
urinal
it
to
hits
the floor.
you. So you
Yeah.
got to kind of like juke it out. You got to avoid it.
Could be
These are things that women
could
don't
be a
know.
low pressure issue too.
That sounds the opposite.
Yeah,
Well,
but,
but
you're
this could
standing
happen.
close enough to it that shouldn't be a problem.
Well, you would think that.
Oh, you're saying
That's
low pressure
exactly.
in addition
To basically
to
kiss that
Ethan's high
urinal.
pressure situation.
You never know how it's going to come out.
yeah, you
I
kinda don't.
always know how it's going to come out.
And
You don't,
that's the
have,
difference.
you don't have to worry about how it's going to come out.
I do if I'm hovering over the toilet because some dude peed on my seat.
Use toilet paper. Why you it off?
Number 3. And we've hit this a little bit in the last
I
couple
was
weeks.
silent because I'm not
apparently.
allowed to say any of the words that I was thinking.
Men daydream about insane scenarios that will never happen where you're the main hero who swoops in to save the day. Common examples include things like thinking you could figure out how to land an airplane in an emergency.
Yeah.
What happens if there's a robbery right now? What would I do with
This
the bad
is
guy?
interesting that you're like in a fantastical situation in your head, that this is a hobby or an exercise that men do maybe with their spare time, or maybe with time that they should be dedicating to other important things like landing a plane. I don't know.
It's 50-50.
But I think I have a very, like, if my mind isn't busy doing something, I'm thinking about something, and I imagine incredibly intense, scary situations, but it's never once resulted in me being, it's not, the end goal is not that I'm the hero. It just all ends bad. I got to go one step further.
Yeah, you're
And
missing
make
out.
you the comical hero in all of my like, oh, this is a disaster, it's a catastrophe. Yeah.
No,
you're
men want to
Spider-Man.
know, what's the woman thinking right now and how do I solve it? Like this, what's the scenario that you're
Gosh.
going playing over in your head? How do I
just-
be the hero in
me?
that scenario?
I
No,
mean-
just anything.
Well, I think that I worry about my family. Any sort of news story or headline that you see is then manifested in what if that were my kid? What if that were me in that situation? So I don't know. It's kind of that is actually like kind of a dark place. To
Yeah,
be.
I was gonna say mine's dark, but mine automatic. Like a lot of times is like, what if there was a shooting? What would I do? How would I respond?
But are you thinking of that to like gameplay it, or so that you can end up being a hero and walking around with a weird
it's
grin on
gameplay.
your
It's-
face all
it's-
day?
Sometimes it's also like, would I be fight or flight?
Yeah.
Would I be the one? Like, would I be willing to jump out?
Just
and,
like the conversation
save-
of the
But
scary faced
that's
guy
not
in
necessarily
Philadelphia.
about me for saying like, oh, I need to be the hero. It's just more so like, how would you respond in those immediate like emergency situations?
How many more do you have?
A lot.
Well, can we revisit instead
yeah.
of diving too far into him here?
And for the record, before we run out of time here, I think you guys do that scenario stuff more than I do. Even based on other conversations we've had.
I'm not a dude
about
and I can confirm
sizing
that.
guys up and all that stuff.
I think Brad does it with every single human he interacts with.
Yes.
That's what he said. That's what he said earlier. But I think that I'm like probably on the low end of that spectrum. That I'm not doing that all the time. I'm not thinking about how to land a plane and stuff like that. And
Because
that
you know
may be,
you couldn't.
No, that may just be because I have low T.
I mean, it's. I was going to say the plane is going to land.
That's why he's
It's gonna
always
get
never
there.
able to pee into the urinal.
Let's talk to Jillian Anderson King next. We're going to talk about women who want to have it all. Can they? Don't go away. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Okay, let's talk about Anne's Bra Shop, my favorite client to be talking to you about now here on the Annie Frey Show. Bras for everyone. If you go to brashop.com, you can check out the different locations that they have in the St. Louis and Metro East. But right now, they're looking for you. If you are looking for a job, I just spoke with someone at the retirement seminar we went to. Long career working in the legal field and now is looking to work in retail. I mean, if you're listening, this could be the job for you. Helping women get into the fit that they need. This is an incredibly fulfilling job. And I really want you to know how great the people at Anne's Bra Shop are to work with. If you're interested in applying for a job, they have meaningful work, flexible hours. Call them at 314-878-4144. That's 314-878-4144. You can go online to brashop.com and learn a little bit more about the company. And you can apply in person. They're hiring at all locations every day but Tuesday. So give them a call. Tell them Annie sent you for sure. And if you've been looking for your next job and you're interested in working in retail, working with people who are combating and defeating breast cancer, this might be the place for you. 314-878-4144. Brashop.com.
Illegally. I'm Carmen Roberts, Fox News. Police in Fairfax County, Virginia, arrested a 19-year-old man this morning, said to be an illegal immigrant from El Salvador for the killing of a Reston woman.
Alexis Campos is under arrest. He is being interviewed right now by Fairfax County homicide detectives, and he is offering a full confession for what transpired.
Police Chief Kevin Davis told reporters a short time ago that Campos knew the victim, 42-year-old Carmen Lizette Puch.
I will share that there was an intimate relationship that existed between our killer and our victim.
Adding the Puch was found stabbed to death Monday next to her car in a parking lot near a Great Falls hiking trail. Federal sources tell Fox News that in 2024, Campos was captured but later released at the border in El Paso, Texas. President Trump picks White House health advisor Dr. Heidi Overton to lead the FDA. The Trump ally now faces the challenge of balancing the president's priorities with competing pressures inside his administration. Meantime, the president tells reporters if Iran wants to end the war, it just has to comply with White House demands.
Look, it's very simple. They have to get rid of no nuclear weapons. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. You know why? Because they'd use it. And we're not going to let them use it.
And in a continuing back and forth, Iran says it won't give in and that the U.S. must meet its demands. Americans have only elected 3 black governors in history, but this year, 8 black candidates are on the ballot, including Florida Republican Congressman Byron Donalds, who tells Fox News.
As a Republican Party, we have set the standard here in Florida. Ron DeSantis has done a great job as governor, and it's about keeping the wins that he's brought to our state.
Donalds will take on Democrat David Jolly in November. America's listening to Fox News.
When I hit my 50s, I felt like things were slowing down.
This is Sandra's Metamucil story.
I started taking Metamucil for digestion, but had no idea it would impact so much more. Not only did Metamucil help me feel more regular, but my heart health saw the benefits too.
Metamucil. One simple routine, 4 health benefits. Digestive health starts here. Go to metamucil.com for more details.
You're great at protecting your data, but lots of places could still expose you to identity theft.
I thought it was safe.
If that happens, LifeLock gives you a US-based restoration agent who will stick by your side from start to finish. Phone calls, filing documentation, preparing insurance claims, your agent handles it all. In fact, we're so confident restoration is guaranteed or your money back. Isn't it nice to have someone like that on your side? Save up to 30% with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show, 104 here in St. Louis, and we're going to get to a guest here in just a second, but before we do that, I'm going to reset the poll question for you. For parents, which is harder, by bringing new children home or watching grown children leave? This really plays into this conversation we're going to have here in just a second, because there's a lot of discussion right now in the news about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I think she's like 38 years old, and she's come out here and said that she's made a decision about her future.
All right, and then before you go, you did have a personal announcement that you made. It was interesting to see you kind of open up in, on an Instagram Live, I believe it was. So tell me what it was and why you decided to do it.
I think it's important for us to normalize these conversations, especially in this political environment. The Trump administration has...
Remind us what the announcement was.
Yeah, sure. So I have decided to start the process of freezing my eggs. Yeah. And in this political environment where this administration is denying reproductive care to women across the country, from abortion rights to the ability to carry out a healthy pregnancy. I think it's important for us as leaders to have these conversations and share these processes, especially for working women across the country, and normalize them.
So let's talk for a second. We could do all day about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez worrying about the Trump administration allowing people to carry out healthy pregnancies. What? I will pause for effect. Give me a break. Why is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, her age, she's 36, I guess, 36 years old. She's getting to this point where she's contemplating motherhood. I mean, that's pretty far down the road. Not to say that you couldn't become a mother at 36 natural way through the egg freezing process. But is this something that has been more mainstream? She said that we need to talk about this, and especially in this political climate. What does that even mean? Let's get to our guest. Very excited to have Jillian Anderson King on the Annie Frey Show with us. Ambassador for Moms Across America, TPUSA and TPUSA Faith. She's a former Redskins cheerleader and a contestant on ABC's The Bachelor and guest on the Annie Frey Show. Jillian, thank you for being with us today. It's great to have you here.
Man, thanks for having me. You guys just rolled out a bunch of titles. All right, okay.
Yeah, the woman who has it all right here on the show with us right now. What was your reaction when you heard, of course, that AOC was freezing her eggs, but also was going to talk about it on ABC this week?
I mean, so AOC and I are just a couple months apart. Our birthdays are a couple months apart. So we're essentially the same age. My first instinct was honestly that it was sad.
I felt the same.
Very, very sad. And at this point, right, when she first brought the video, she was still engaged to all of our knowledge, right? So we're like, what's going on? It's been 5 years since her engagement. Why did she just get married and have kids? It seemed, she definitely tried to hit Donald Trump, in this political climate. But we know that Trump created Trump accounts. He expanded the adoption tax credit. He strengthened so much support for children aging out of foster care. He put so many employer incentives for childcare. And I mean, to use that as like a political thing. I can't have it. It's political climate. That's just wrong. But in a greater sense, like to put off motherhood for what seems to be like her ambitions, her professional ambitions, that's what hit me hard.
Yeah.
Personally, I've just kind of been on this mission to work really hard and to do really big things that God has put in my heart, and He has. And I've been someone who's been chasing a good career and just wanting to get things done. And I love that at the sacrifice of starting a family, where I put that as like a second tier in my head. I felt so convinced that we were, as women, to accomplish the world to conquer the world and accomplish as many things as we could, and to be just as strong and just as great as men can be in the work field. And I just bought that, and I just had this fun life of doing reality TV and cheering and going out and doing fun things and working really hard, again, at the expense of a life that was waiting for me to start a family. And I think I definitely bought into this lie that family is something you do later. Family is something that you can do later if you go to school, you get your degree, you get your job, you work hard, you make enough money to support a family, find the right guy. It is much later in life. When I got pregnant with my first child, and I was in my almost my mid-30s, I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. But God, I put it on my heart, and I prayed, with Him and to Him. Sorry, and He just told me, like, this isn't about you. You're making this about you. It's selfish. This is my child that I'm giving you to raise. And from that point on, I started looking at things differently. Mm-hmm. And what I wish I knew in my early 20s, is that, hey, I don't have to choose between being a mom and doing things. I can actually do both.
Right.
And that was that. Even the conservatives, I think, a lot of the times they get this messaging wrong, where we all have to be stay-at-home trad wives. No, we look at the books of the Bible. We see people like Esther. That's not true. I would be disobedient if I was not giving my gifts that God has put in me and sharing them. That I would be disobedient to that. But what I could do is I could go back in time and I could have kids earlier and actually feel stronger and more passionate about the things that I'm doing now. I could have done this longer. I could have been more powerful. I was dreaming too small and not big enough. And that's really how I see it now. And what I feel bad about when I see AOC is that she was lied to, like I was. We're the same age. This whole girl boss, accomplish it all. We're just as good as men. This is what's important. Kids can wait. Well, they can't wait.
Yeah.
One of my best friends, Erica Kirk, we were trying to have our third kid at the same time. And that unfortunately did not work out for her. And she wanted to have a fourth one, same as me. And we were trying to do things at the same time together, and life was cut short. Her opportunity was cut short. So we know that later isn't always better.
Yeah, amen.
It doesn't always come.
Jillian Anderson King speaking with us right now, an ambassador for Moms Across America, TPUSA Faith. You know, the thing that I appreciate so much about what you're saying is it's kind of like shaking all of the braces that sit around being a girl and being a woman and being a mother. It seems to me like there was this expectation of women, you know, decades ago, women are there to get married, to have babies, and to keep the home. And then the feminists came in and they're like, you don't have to be relegated to just that. If you want to be in a boardroom, you can be in a boardroom. But then, unfortunately, I'm 42 years old right now, so I'm pretty close to you in age, and I've got 4 kids myself. There was this moment where this postmodern feminism stripped everything away from what makes women so empowered, our ability to create life and our ability to mother and our ability to nurture. And they told us to put all of that aside. That is the most adorable little voice, by the way. I love that
he
so much.
Woke up. Sorry.
That's okay. By
you
all
guys
means,
are doing both.
Yeah, exactly. It's the perfect addition to this conversation. But these women who have been lied to for the last 10, 20 years in the effort to empower feminism, they've been stripped from what they actually can do to flex as women. And then you get to the point where you're 38, and I thought that her delivery of that freezing my eggs announcement, I did not believe her face and her smile. It did feel sad. Who knows what's going to happen next for her? But she's made a choice that's limited her options so incredibly much.
Yeah, I think to your point, like, yes, the feminists who fought for us to get back in the workplace is just crazy. They've gone so far left they can't define women. You know, we all know that's crazy. But at the same time, I think conservatives miss the mark on this too. We are pushing this idea that I get hit on personally, that I know like people like Erica Kirk get hit on, but like she even has a choice because she's a single mother now. But like, hey, you have kids, be at home. Be at home. Hey, I talk to her a lot. We're both at home a lot.
Right.
So you're trying to juggle it all. But there's not really a one-size-fits-all box. And our calling on our lives is different person to person, and how we manage it and how we manage our home life, you know, that's between us and God. And that's between us and our husbands and our family. And I think there is a balance there. There can be a balance there if you so choose it. And now, if you want to stay home and make sourdough and be a stay-at-home. I love it, and I think that's amazing. And I wish, part of me wishes, hey, I wish I lived on a farm in the middle of nowhere and I had a life to myself. But that's not the calling that God gave me, right? I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I think it's a beautiful thing when people can rise up and run organizations like Erica. You know, that's not my calling. We all have our own thing, and to be able to balance motherhood with that is just a beautiful thing. And so I think we've pushed people in, like, you have to be a girl boss or you have to be a stay-at-home sourdough baking mom. Like, there's a lot of room in between, right?
That's not the only
option. We're not talking about that. Exactly. It's not the only option. But my thing is, I felt lied to. I felt completely lied to. And I could cry thinking about it because the world told me I needed to do all these things before having a kid. And the world told me that pregnancy was awful, that kids were annoying, that I would lose having fun, that I would lose, like, hey, let's go travel. Let's go have this big career. Let's keep building. Let's keep making more money. I won't be able to make it if I don't have enough money. I won't be able to do any of these things ever again. My life is more full and still busy than it has ever been.
Yeah,
but I love it. I'm so blessed by that. And I feel robbed of not only the years I could have had with my kids, but for the person it could have made me 10 years earlier.
Oh, Jillian, you know, the other part of this, too, that I think is so important for women to hear is we're always told, like, you can do it all, like, you can do it, girl power and all this stuff. But the truth of the matter is you do kind of need a village. And if you're blessed to have parents around to help with those kiddos, that's great. If you have a church community, they can be your village. But you do have to rely on other people to help you do this. It will enrich yourself. It will enrich your children. It will enrich your family. It will enrich your faith life and your faith walk. We've got a lot of government programs being offered to us that can get rid of the father in the family and rid them of their responsibilities of creation of life. Yep. Make it easy for people to stay home and not contribute to society. The government's always trying to give you that opportunity to say, you don't have to work, you don't have to input, just take the output. And that breaks down a structure where that village is there to help raise that family.
Absolutely. So a title that you didn't have on there, something I'm really proud out of, and I probably pour into this ministry day to day more than I do anything else, is as I'm a board member, a proud board member of the Jack Brewer Foundation. My best friend, Jack Brewer, a fight for his life. If you don't ever see him throughout the media or know
he's
him
been
from
on our
former
show.
NFL days. Yeah, he is. God had put on his heart to fight for the fathers. And to your point, like the Great Society and what it did to break down the family, we see that in real time. We are actively working to change policies. We helped write and pass the fatherhood bill here in the state of Florida. We've helped work on legislation throughout other states, and then we helped pass a couple resolutions alongside with our future governor, Byron Donalds of Florida, and Burgess Owens, a congressman from Utah. We do a lot of work in fatherhood, try to change legislatively, but also we're hands-on in our communities. We're providing for these families on a weekly basis. My children and I, my husband, we serve these families. We give them groceries. We tutor. I just took a bunch of at-risk fatherless youth school shopping. We make sure they get their schools done. We put them in our after-school programs. We get them to sports. They call me if they need cleats, they need helmets. They call me. They call our foundation. We make sure that they have what they need to succeed, because a lot of these kids, I mean, you can see stats. You're 16 times more likely to be a high school dropout if you don't have a father.
Yeah.
And, being incarcerated. We work in prisons all over. We work with all over the state of Florida, and then some throughout the country. Our programs are in there, and we're seeing many times over 90% of the people incarcerated did not have dads. And then when you ask again, hey, raise your hand if you have a kid, and many that you see hands go up, you just cry because they're not seeing their kids, they're not pouring into them. And you see this vicious cycle, but we're pushing kids. These Great Society has pushed fathers out of the home, and we've now seen generations of how it's affected them. The government has taken over what was meant for the family.
Amen. Yeah, we've got
So we're trying really hard to push that back together and step up and have men. Hey, everyone listening, if you're a man, step up and be a coach. Step up and be a mentor. Be something in a little boy's life that he needs. Help him steer him on so he can build a family. Be a tax-paying citizen. Be a contributor, and be a man that God had put in his heart to be.
Oh, it's so enriching because it's all community first. It's a we the people first, and if a government program needs to exist to lift up those who the community can't lift up, then maybe there's a discussion for it. But there is a movement out there for the government to come in and replace all of these necessary things to have a healthy society where women can do what women do, men can do what men do, and they come together to create something beautiful in a family, and those families enrich the community. And that example is something that we need to have much more of. It's so great to hear your anecdotes, and of course, Jack Brewer does such a wonderful job with his advocacy as well.
And something that Charlie Kirk always echoed. He echoed it a lot, and it's so true because I live it every day. Is that the church? There's nothing the government can do that the church can't do better,
Amen.
And we're already doing it. Whether it comes feeding them, taking care of families. Like here in the state of Florida, my friend Mike Watkins, who runs NWF Health, he helped privatize adoption and foster care here in the state of Florida, knowing that communities and churches, they were going to be the ones to love on these kids, not the government. And he saw that. And in every part of life, there's nothing that a church can't or shouldn't be doing, really, that they can be doing better than the government. And so I think people need to remember, what ecclesia actually means, that we are the church. We are the hands and feet of Jesus, and to live that out. And part of my calling was to say, hey, females out there, do you have a better role? You have a better role than just being a worker bee. Than we can live out Jesus, and I have my kids are just a testament to his goodness, right? But also they are my ministry. But so is my work.
Yeah, you can do both.
And you can do it both if he calls you to do it.
Yes, you can. And you are. And we're so grateful today, Jillian, for you to share that message with us here and to talk about this. I encourage people to go to foxnews.com and read your opinion piece that was there. That's what got my attention. I was grateful to read it, felt a kindred spirit with you, and grateful that you were able to give us some of your time and some of your kiddos' time today, too. Give him a hug from us.
Thanks. The long guys woke him up out of his nap, so I apologize.
I understand. Jillian, thank you for being with us here today. It was good to speak with you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. I know how that goes. It's like that. One of my favorite things that's ever happened on live broadcasting is that kid that wandered into the back of that Zoom call. That is just absolutely amazing. I love it. Won't ever forget it. Let's break here for a minute. We'll get Ryan back in for a second. We're going to speak with Will Chamberlain at the bottom of the hour in less than 10 minutes, and and we're going to ask him. Florida just had a primary last night, but we're seeing it from state to state to state to state. The socialists are trying to make their way into the mainstream of the Democrat Party. What's going on there? But also, is there any sort of civil war of sorts? Is there any formidable split in the Republican Party? Will Chamberlain will speak with us on that at 1:30. Keep it right here on the Annie Frey Show. We'll be right back. The Retirement Advisory Group, online at retirementkey.com. You know the names, Bob and Tammy Kershaw. They're excited to meet you. Every time I go to one of the seminars with them, the people who have worked with the Retirement Advisory Group over the decades of partnership that we've had here on 97.1 with the Retirement Advisory Group are always talking about how well served they were with that experience. You could be the next one. It's a free sit-down discussion for you to start with. So you could take my word for it and tell you that there have been many, many satisfied 97.1 listeners who have become Retirement Advisory Group customers. But once you go there, you can interview them. You can see what they do and see if they are the people to get you in that transitionary period out of working into retirement. So give them a call at 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. Reach out to Bob and Tammy Kershaw and ask them about how to set up a personalized structured income plan, how to make sure that your nest egg is protected, how you're attached to the ups in the stock market but not crashing with the downs. 314-993-9494, retirementkey.com. Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Just got done speaking with Jillian Anderson King there with Moms Across America and TPUSA Faith as well. Interesting conversation. And I think it's a struggle that a lot of women go through. It's like, where do I need to be and when do I need to be there? That old biological clock, you can't defeat it. And, you know, there are a lot of people who are like, I'd love to have a kid at 25. It wasn't in the cards, didn't find the right guy. Sometimes it doesn't happen for you, but there is a huge portion of young women who are not even thinking along those lines, like maybe now would be a good time to start this process. They get into it in their mid to late 30s and think, gosh, I'm running out of time here. And then, you know, it might just virtually be too late. It's a sad thing to think about. That in conjunction with our YouTube poll today for parents, which is harder, bringing new children home or watching grown children leave. Somebody said, I think they said it was like, it was in the 40s, but like when you're in your 40s, you go to your like high school reunion and you've got people who are maybe grandparents. I have a classmate who is a grandma now, and she had her first kid maybe when she was 19 or 20. She was married. They just got married really young and had babies really young, kind of in an old-fashioned way or whatever. But I have one classmate who is a grandma right now, and then other people who are having kids for the first time. So the spectrum right now at this age is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that must have been a viral tweet because I saw that same thing.
Yeah. It's probably because we're in our 40s.
Yeah,
and
here
Facebook
you go,
was like,
algorithm.
here you are.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
What any more text message feedback here at the Annie Frey Show text line?
Yeah, this one says, my wife would disagree, but bringing our 2 children home, I just took in stride because it's just a change in daily schedules plus baby snuggles.
I really wonder if there is, I wish I would have put, I don't know if I could have done all of these. Like bringing kids home and I'm a man, bringing kids home and I'm a woman.
Yeah, that's probably a difference for sure.
I feel like it would be harder to bring kids home for a woman and harder to let kids go for a man.
This guy
That's
adds,
my assumption.
What's not to like about that? Speaking of baby snuggles, he says, as they age, only 2 and 5 now, but I find myself constantly thinking about the day they leave or the day I leave them, and that breaks my heart. From Daniel.
Yes, Daniel, I'm with you.
Another one says, and by the way, I think I attributed a text earlier to balls, and that was wrong. This one is balls, and he said, don't do that. I'm sorry. I think that I did mess that up. This one says...
An admonishment
Yeah.
via the text line. Let's do more of those for Ryan's job performance. 314-241-9797.
Keep me in check. Keep me in line. Empty nest, 100% worse,
Ugh.
he says. With the baby, you feel a true sense of purpose and excitement for the future. When they leave, you see your purpose walk out the door, and you're lost and terrified for the future, hoping you did the job right for their future. It sucks. From the capitalized real balls.
The real balls. I want to ask my parents, but I'm 100% sure that my mom would say bringing babies home was harder.
James just texted in. Also, a lot of people chiming in on this subject. I was scared to death bringing the kids home, but very hard to let them go on with being an adult.
I also wonder, people, help me out a little bit here. Every phase that I anticipate, the anticipation is so much more burdensome than the actual event when it gets there. Like, for instance, Charlie driving. Charlie, my son Charlie is going to be 17 in a couple weeks. Holy smokes. But I feel the same way about him turning 17. Like, how is this possible? As I felt when he was in double digits at 10. It's just like, I can't even imagine that. But then you get there, and then I don't know if it's like the Lord in my heart, but sometimes it's just like, okay. You know, kind of a, what I consider to be one of the most misused Bible passages from Scripture is, I can do all things through him who gives me strength. You say that, and you're like, we're going to win our volleyball game. Mm-hmm. No, the things that you don't think you could possibly get through, somehow you'll manage it because the Lord will help you. So, like, when I see Philippians 4:13, there's never necessarily a wrong way to apply Scripture. I like, if you invoke it and you speak it, then Scripture can do what it does, I believe. But I feel like Philippians 4:13 is often used as a really hopeful Scripture that's there to, like, it's a pep talk. And I actually think that it's the one to go to when you've run out of options and you're not sure how you're going to do it. Those really heavy things, whatever you're dealing with right now, loss or divorce or job search or kids leaving, and you're like, what am I going to do with myself? Then you read Philippians 4:13 and you go, I'll get through it. Just help me get through it. Just ask for that help. Keep sending us your feedback. I had a feeling that this would be a good 2:00 hour deep dive at 2:30 to get a lot of the feedback with Brad from the YouTube channel and you on the text line. And, you know, we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll open up the phone lines as well. Let's see if I can handle that over here. I'm not 100% sure I'm ready for it yet. That's honestly, why are you shaking your head?
There's going to be, well, by virtue of the age of the people listening, my guess is that we're going to hear a lot of people saying bringing new children home because they haven't gotten, like, just like us, we haven't gotten to where we're
I think we got a lot of people listening who might have just dropped their kids off this past weekend.
True, too.
Yeah.
But there's going to be at least a large contingency have never done that.
Yeah.
So I would guess that would be the winner right now. But.
Well, we'll see. You got to weigh in on the Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll. Go vote. Will Chamberlain next. We know about the socialist, moderate Democrat civil war. Is there a civil war in the Republican Party? Will Chamberlain will tell us next. Don't go away. So Point Pest Control, you find them online, point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com. Give them a call at 636-798-0023. That's 636-798-0023. Point Pest Control is the answer to your pest problems in your home, at your church, at work. You've got critters, get rid of them with a simple phone call to Point Pest Control at 636-798-0023. Their premium service plan that the Frey family is a member of. They come to our home quarterly. They'll treat the inside of your home. They'll treat the outside of your home. And with Point Pest Control, you can be reliant on their ability to get rid of the spiders, to take care of the ants. If you've got crickets, even mice, have them no more with a simple phone call to Point Pest Control. Mention Annie. You'll have the opportunity to save an extra 10% discount on top of the best special they have going on right now. So reach out to them at 636-798-0023. That's 636-798-0023. Point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com.
Well, we're getting a lot of publicity on the split in the Democrat Party, but is there a split happening in the Republican Party right now, too? Will Chamberlain coming up next, senior counsel at the Article 3 Project, to talk about that with Annie. It is 1:33. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
America is the place where third-party candidates go to die. It is never easy to put a new political party together. It is never easy for a third-party candidate in the face of our very bifurcated nation to win. If Tucker did this from inside the GOP, I think it would be more powerful for him. But if he wants to sort of blackmail the GOP into saying, I'm going to run a serious third-party effort, align with my goals, or I'm going to go out there and peel off 6, 7, 10% of the voters and see how that works out for you. You know, I think that is a dangerous threat for the GOP. So I think he's in a more powerful position, either doing this as, you know, the blackmailer, the extortionist, to get people in the Republican Party to move toward him, or staying in the influencer lane. Running the traditional campaign is a very long shot, even for somebody with his name ID and his
So there you have the Lincoln Project and MS Now with, I think, a fever dream of what could be the most helpful thing to the Democrats. That's what you're going to get on MS Now. Is there a civil war taking place in the Republican Party? Or is the Lincoln Project there, Rick Wilson, who just has an absolute disposition of hatred for people on the right? Are they just trying to manifest one? Let's talk to Will Chamberlain. Great to have you back on the show, Will. Senior counsel at the Article 3 Project, at Will Chamberlain. Fresh off of a primary in Florida. Interesting outcomes there, certainly, in the Democrat Party and the Republican Party. MS Now goes, how could we break apart the Republican Party? Is there a worry there?
No, I mean, it's all the talk of a civil war, I think, is honestly, I mean, if not put to bed, is seriously in doubt after what we saw in Florida. It's the normal candidates who won, and the kind of crazy civil war-oriented people like James Fishback and Dan Bilzerian, who went down in flames. And not only that, we did some housekeeping. Corey Mills lost his seat to Ryan Elijah in the 6th district. And so we have a slew of good candidates coming out of there. And I think I'm really happy about the Florida results. They went about as well as they could have been. And all this talk of civil war, I think this is an online influencer phenomena. It's not reflective of where Republican voters are or how they feel. Republican voters are behind the president and behind the party, and they want to win.
I'm thinking to myself about MS Now spending any time on divisions in the Republican Party. The only place that I personally, and I do see it because I'm professionally on social media quite a lot, I have nobody in my life coming up and going like, but what about Tucker Carlson or anything like that? He's a big deal in this space because I think he's good at being in that space, but I don't think it's a realistic application to the party as a whole. Meanwhile, socialism is having its day on the other side of the aisle.
Yeah, I mean, the socialists, I think they're doing a little worse than people understand, although they did manage to get their Senate candidate across the line and upset Alex Vindman. That said, I think, Alex Vindman, somebody said in my chat today, I chat with my friends, and they were like, oh, it's too bad it's the socialists beating a moderate, so I guess that's not great in the grand scheme of things. And I'm like, no, Alex Vindman is a traitor. And a chow thief. So I think I'm perfectly happy to see him beat by a socialist. I don't see how that's an improvement. I think Alex Vindman should be in Fort Leavenworth, so it's good that he's not in the U.S. Senate.
Yeah, and in Florida, okay, you're going to run a socialist candidate up against the now red state of Florida. I think that for Republicans, that race going the way it did was about the best outcome possible.
Yeah, that's going to be a buzzsaw. A number of races that could have created vulnerabilities. That Corey Mills race could have been a problem because his personal issues are just outrageous. So that could have been a problem. That's not going to be anymore because we kicked him out in the primary. We didn't have all of our, the Trump endorsed candidates everywhere else run. In fact, the funny thing is you look at Trump's comments today about Corey Mills, you get the sense that he kind of didn't really want to endorse Corey Mills. Maybe he felt like he had to for reasons of how thin the House majority was, and he couldn't endorse against that many incumbents. But he's happy to see him go. We've got good candidates up and down the ballot. We're winning. And Florida is looking really good, and we're not going to have to spend any money in Florida to keep the enormous Republican majority we have there.
Florida's a big state. I mean, it's a very populous state. There are a lot of votes to count in Florida, and they count them fast. Why is it that in Florida they can implement that type of an election result production where the people of Florida know what the result is, and they know it quickly, and they seem to rely on it, and California takes weeks? Is it intentional?
Yeah, that's intentional. I mean, they did a lot of work to figure out how to do that and how to basically make it invulnerable to fraud. Like, I lived in Florida. I voted in Florida. You show ID at the ballot at the polling place, and you have a paper ballot, and then you put that paper ballot in a feed. And so obviously that's going to a statewide repository. And so literally my understanding is the state of Florida, somebody in the governor's office or somebody in the state of Secretary of State's office pushes a button, and then you have all the results from all the polling places. Voila, like that. And I'm not sure, not maybe at least in counties, maybe that's divided by county. I don't know. But basically this is, you just don't get the stuff where you have days and days and days of counting ballots. Like, the vast majority of votes get counted immediately. And then you've got some lingering, some outliers from like absentee voting and whatever that might, they might have to do some late counting on, but it's a trivial portion. And so as a result, we get results immediately. And I mean, we have to go back all the way to the 2000 election when George Bush and Al Gore fought it out, and the hanging chads, and their Broward County was a mess. And I think the state of Florida, to its credit, decided we're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to be the embarrassment of the country. We're going to be leading the way on election integrity.
Well, let's talk about the embarrassment to the country. I'm going to put California out there. You might raise me a different state that I'm not paying as much attention to, but that's the big one that gets the most attention for being abysmal. I mean, is that part intentional? Are they making the process string out so much for a reason?
Yeah, I think they are, honestly. I think that, election integrity in California is a joke. You have video of, obviously it takes a month to count election results. They're an outlier in the entire Western world, not just in the United States. In the entire Western world, there's nowhere else that counts ballots the way California does. And they, have vote by mail and low integrity vote by mail. Lots of people registered homeless shelters, which is just a really good way to ensure that people vote who have no intention of voting. I'm sorry. Like, it's almost de facto evidence of fraud. If you are registering like hard drug addicts who are homeless via vote by mail, you are just obviously trying to do fraud. Because why on earth, if you were sitting there as a vote register, you're thinking to yourself, well, if I'm going to get this guy to register to vote, I need them to show up and do this, show up, be so of sound mind to remember 2 months from now on election day to fill out a ballot. And if this election was on the level, then why would you waste time trying to do that with homeless drug addicts? Because you couldn't count on them to do that. But since it's not on a level, because the whole idea here is that you're going to hope that somebody else will be able to vote those ballots for the homeless person who knows where they will be in 2 months, right? So it's just de facto fraud.
So we're speaking with Will Chamberlain right now, senior counsel at the Article 3 Project. Going back to that discussion about the strength of the Republican Party going into these midterm elections here in November, there's a lot to be said about, you've got a majority in the Senate right now of Republicans, a majority in the House, of course, President Trump in the White House. Why can't we get done what we need to get done right now with the Republicans that we have in there? And can anything get done in the final 2 years, at least congressionally, if we lose one of those chambers?
Right now, basically, you'll have nothing done in the next 2 years. It's really important the Republicans get out and vote. I know it can feel frustrating, but I think people need to take a step back, take a broader view, and look at what the administration has managed to do in the last 2 years. It's a lot. On immigration, we have, fought tooth and nail to win these legal battles, and now all temporary protected status is over. Refugee admissions are gone, except from South Africa. The only place there's refugees are coming in is from South Africa now. The new statistics showed that. Remember, the border, we shut down the border. Border crossings are at an all-time low. Crime is at a massive all-time low, or at least a low in like the last 30 or 40 years. It's a remarkable performance, and the economy's humming. The stock market's way up. We have some, cost inflation issues, but that's because President Trump thought it was wise to go into Iran, which I agree with, actually. And for all the talk of how we're losing that war, it turns out that we're getting all the oil we need to get out of the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran can't really do much about it, to the point that we're now saying we don't have any negotiations. We're just maintaining a naval blockade. Like, we're winning in a lot of different ways, I think, and especially as we get closer and closer to the election and we start, kind of presenting the case and making everybody remember, like, this is what it was like under Biden. Honestly, do you really think you're worse off than you were 2 years ago? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think most Americans are better off, and I think it's going to be a pretty compelling pitch.
I'm glad you brought up Iran, because it does have it's a very simple, first and only headline that people who want to criticize the president, who would do that on any day, this one makes it a little simpler for them. They call him a war president, so on and so forth. Politics is PR in many cases. It's not policy. How much of what you believe, the average American, not the Politico junkie that like you and I might be, how much of what the average American believes to be true right now is based on political spin by people who just want to see Trump fail, even at the cost of America succeeding?
A decent amount. I think a lot of people are kind of tuned out on this, and in the sense of, just not wanting a war. It's like, okay, that's a reasonable place to be. But I think you're going to, somebody posted on X a very interesting point. He's like, there aren't anti-war protests in the streets of DC. Why are there not anti-war protests? Well, there really aren't very many Americans dying. We lost something like 16 Americans, which obviously every death, tragedy of a service member. But in the context of the normal military operations, like, this is the number of people who would die even if we weren't in a war, right? From just the number of people who would die from training accidents, or, random attacks from just having our forces in the region. So, and right now, like, they're not able to go after our guys. Our guys are on ships thousands of miles away from Iran. We don't have troops on the ground. So what is the anti-war? It's not like other wars where we've had this massive anti-war movement that felt organic and could get people motivated. I don't see that, and I don't see it happening. Because what are you going to do? You're going to get motivated. Is the left going to get out there and start protesting about how high oil prices are? That's sort of counterintuitive for them because they want to eliminate oil consumption in any event because they think it causes global warming. So there's just not without troops on the ground actually dying, and with all that happening just being basically a naval blockade and an economic sanction regime with intermittent airstrikes on military facilities, like there's just nothing to get mad at, nothing to keep people really angry and engaged. So I think it just won't be that salient a factor for people when it comes time to vote in the fall. And the other point I would make here is everybody's talking about these polling and we look really bad in polls right now. Okay, but then you see these polling, the actual election results in the primaries, and they're like 20 points off in Wisconsin, in Minnesota, and elsewhere. Like just now we had this Vindman thing where Vindman got knocked down. He, another 15 to 20 point miss. I don't think the pollsters have a really good handle on the electorate right now. And when I see these numbers like Tallarico up in Texas, just from these, I'm like, really? We won Texas by 15. Are things that much worse? Do we lose 20% of the public because of like a naval blockade in Iran? I don't think so.
Yeah. Are those intentionally wrong? You think those polls are intentional? Maybe they're not making mistakes. Maybe they're trying to accomplish something?
I think the way that polling works is they call you on your phone from unknown numbers, and who in their right mind picks that up? You're just getting a very weird self-selected part of the electorate. And I think Ryan Grodowski had a good podcast where he talked about, in particular, like older white voters, the kind of people who respond to those polls, they tend to be left-leaning because they really want to tell you about their politics, which is just like the most older white left liberal thing. It's just really, really, really wanting to tell you about how good and noble they are because they're liberals. And it's just like older right-wing white voters don't vote that way. And so, they do the way they do these polls, obviously they get everybody's demographic information and then try and take the results and map them onto the demographics and then they spit it out. Well, if they're saying white voters are suddenly really favoring Democrats, and it's because right-leaning Republican voters who are white aren't responding to the poll, you just get wild errors.
Yeah. Well, I like your optimism and your realism more than anything, Will Chamberlain. It'll be interesting to see how the Republican Party navigates a few big tent concerns, and the big tent is the number one. It's weird that big tent for Democrats is like, sure, socialism. That sounds fine. We'll take it. That's the option that they have on the table.
They got a much bigger problem. If you're talking about a civil war, the DSA Democrat civil war, that's a much bigger problem. I mean, basically, our fringe is just much more marginal.
Yeah, amen to that. Will Chamberlain, great to see you again and talk to you. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, we'll do it again. Will Chamberlain is a senior counsel at the Article 3 Project on X, a must follow, I might add, at Will Chamberlain. We'll break here real quick. Ryan's coming back in studio with us here in just a moment. That YouTube live chat poll for you today. It's a heart string question for parents. Which is harder, bringing new kids home or watching grown children leave? You go to the Frey YouTube live chat to vote. You can leave a comment there as well. And you can text us your response at 314-241-9797. We'll be right back. Repairs.com, 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. All of your foundation repair concerns should start with a quick visit to their website. Now, if you're going to call them in a minute so that you can schedule them to come out and inspect what you're dealing with, give you an estimate on how they can solve your problem for you the right way the first time, start on the website, homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com. Matt Hayes is the owner. He will come inspect. He'll determine the kind of property repair that you need. Maybe it's not as bad as you thought it would be. Maybe it's way worse than you anticipated it could be. Either way, you need an expert, somebody who you can rely on to do the best work with the time that they're going to spend in your home and the money that you're going to invest in restoring the integrity of your home's foundation. If you need concrete lifting, if you need piering services at your home, and if you need basement waterproofing services, give Matt Hayes the opportunity to earn your business. 314-271-9900. Call 314-271-9900. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com. Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Pretty big, busy show today. We spoke with David Asman, the Fox Business anchor at 12:18. We talked about affordability, but we also talked about the fact that real wages are up under President Trump, down 3.9% over the course of the term of President Biden, and they're up. I had it just here just now. It was like 1.2% or 1.9% so far with President Trump. I mean, that's a good sign, and those are just numbers. Those are facts. I think that's important. Will Chamberlain just speaking with us now about the future of the Republican Party and the future of the Democrat Party. Do you feel, Brian, do you ever come into contact with people who are, I mean, maybe I don't think that this is you, but like there are some people who are heavily driven by I think Tucker Carlson is the leader of it, but I don't find that to be a majority, hardly even a vocal minority of people who I'm actually attached to in person.
No, that's a really good question because I don't know how many people those really engaged kind of podcasters on the right represent. They exist. And that clip from Rick Wilson that you started that last interview with Will Chamberlain with, that's probably very true. He said it was somewhere between 6 and 10% of the electorate that Tucker could maybe pull with him if he decided to go in a certain direction. That's probably about right. It's not big enough to make a huge impact in like the world, but it could in an election.
What do you make of Tucker?
I just don't know. He's another one. So yesterday, oddly, Candace Owens' name came up as well in a conversation with somebody, and they were saying, I don't really agree with Candace Owens, but every now and then I see a clip of something and I say, well, that's spot on, And so it's probably the same with Tucker, where it's what you're hearing that is this crazy stuff that you go, man, I don't have any common ground with Tucker. When in fact, probably 70 to 80% of what he says, you go, oh, that's good, that's fine. But it's that crazy extra stuff that you go, I'm not on board with that, and it kind of spoils the whole soup.
I think 70-80% is too high for me. I feel like what he talks about these days is all intended to be. I mean, if we were just doing music radio, it'd be shock jock stuff. But I don't know if that's why he's doing it. I mean, does this guy need clicks and views?
Maybe.
I can't imagine that he does. There's just the Israel question is a huge question among the division in the Republican Party right now. And I don't understand, like, there's a part of me that understands the idea of, I feel like you should be able to ask questions of anything at any time because the answer will redirect you or confirm for you where the position you had when you asked the question. So if you ask a question, that doesn't mean that you're questioning the existence of something because you don't believe it. But if you want to find out more information, that's fine. I don't understand how Republicans can be associated with even a whiff of anything that is anti-Jew.
I don't get it.
And like, guys, what's going on? We're better than this. And so I don't talk about it very much because I find it to be it's such a hot button issue and it's so divisive. And I look at Tucker and I look at some of these other people whose names I don't even want to mention on my show. Like, I don't want any association with them whatsoever. I just feel like they're not that. I feel like they have a very dedicated group of people who follow them, but you're in or you're out.
Yeah.
You're not, you don't dabble in Candace Owens.
Right. It's kind of an exclusive club. So it's something that you either buy into fully or you're just not listening to it. And that may be the goal. I mean, it may be we need passionate followers who will buy products, who will listen to us.
Or to have influence in a way that allows you to have some power in some capacity. You don't have to be the president of the United States, but you can still have influence.
You sure do.
When we come back, I want more things men do secretly that women don't know.
You got it.
All right. Don't go away.
Americans die in a helicopter crash. I'm Carmen Roberts, Fox News. Tragedy in Kenya, Africa. A helicopter crash this morning in a remote part of the country, killing all 7 on board. U.S. State Department says 5 of them were Americans. If he gets a new trial, he'll get a new judge. Attorneys for convicted teenage killer Carmelo Anthony are pushing for a new trial.
Tomorrow, they're going to make their case for that. But today was about which judge will be hearing that appeal. The group of civil rights, criminal defense, and appellate attorneys now working pro bono for Anthony argued that Judge John Roach, who oversaw the original trial, cannot be trusted to hear their appeal impartially, based on comments he made after the trial about how fairly he felt it was conducted. Carmelo Anthony's supporters celebrated outside the courthouse after the judge's ruling that a new judge will hear the appeal tomorrow.
Fox's Garrett Tunney, a jury convicted Anthony in the stabbing death of high school student Austin Metcalf. It's a trade turnaround. President Trump celebrating what he calls a breakthrough with Canada, saying that the two countries have reached a deal to delay 50% tariffs on Canadian imports that were set to take effect today. Fox's Ed Lawrence has more from the White House.
Negotiations are still going on today, according to a source familiar with them. Now, the president hinting to the fact that in a bigger agreement, the Keystone XL pipeline could be revived in that agreement. Now, pipeline business leaders here in the U.S. would like to see that pipeline almost more than the Canadian side, but it would mean a lot of money for the growing Canadian oil industry.
The United Arab Emirates is suspending all trade with Iran after a renewed Iranian missile fire. The move further isolates Iran, already under U.S. sanctions and a blockade. The UAE issued that nationwide shelter warnings last night. It's first in weeks. America's listening to Fox News.
When I hit my 50s, I felt like things were slowing down.
This is Sandra's Metamucil story.
I started taking Metamucil for digestion, but had no idea it would impact so much more. Not only did Metamucil help me feel more regular, but my heart health saw the benefits too.
Metamucil. One simple routine, 4 health benefits. Digestive health starts here. Go to metamucil.com for more details.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft.
Oh no.
That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that could make all the difference. Save up to 30% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Welcome back to us here on the Annie Frey Show. We're happy to be with you here on 97.1 FM Talk. Mark Reardon will be in an hour, so you're going to want to keep it right here. We'll continue to cover the news as it happens. I know he's like fully engrossed in golf mode right now, so he's got a lot to bring to you here shortly when we hand it over to him. At Wiggins America earlier today, 12:45, Ryan gets like 10 minutes every day to talk about whatever he wants. Things men do secretly that women don't know that they do. I wonder how many of these things should stay secret or even actually are secrets. We're going to dip back into that here in a second as well. But our YouTube poll for the day, if you go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel, the easiest way to do this is to subscribe to the channel turn on notifications, and then when we go live, that pops up, and then you can just go to the video and vote in the poll, and then you're locked in. Today we're asking for parents, which is harder, bringing new children home or watching grown children leave. I haven't peeked. Usually I kind of get a peek at the results to see how it's going. I haven't looked yet. So you got any texts on the text line, 314-241-9797?
Well, there's a lot of people chiming in with just which one was harder. I like this one because it goes into a little bit of why the second one was harder, which is watching grown children leave. He says the hardest has been watching my kids having their kids and the stresses I can't fix.
Really? I thought that was supposed to be the easy time.
I did too.
Don't do that to me.
Well, there are a lot of people saying, you know what, it's great. I love the empty nest part because of the fact that you sort of have less going on in your life. You can live your best life in a sense. You got a little bit more money because you're older, and you still get the joy of having your kids. It's not like your kids are gone.
Yeah.
They're just not in your house. There was one comment in particular that really shined a positive light. There's so many here, I'm having trouble keeping track of them. But that one in particular was very positive about the empty nest time in life.
That's good to know too. It's got to be bittersweet. Isn't parenting just a big helping of bittersweet?
Yeah, it kind of is.
Very bitter,
As
very
you say
sweet.
that, I see the word bittersweet pop out of the text line here. It says, meeting little family additions may have been hard, but seeing the daughter leave was a bittersweet moment. She got married, and for the youngest, I was kind of glad that he was out the house, though. I didn't know where that was going.
Give us a name and phone number, and we'll air out their dirty laundry. Real quick, Brad, on the YouTube chat.
Yeah, Dirk says, for me, it was watching them leave. When you have children under your roof for almost half of your life and then they move out, it's a big impact.
Yeah, I'm just a little worried about it. We'll see how it goes, of course. You want to dip into a lighter subject here? Things men do secretly that women don't know. Ryan, you said you had a long list.
Yeah, so before we talked about not wanting to stop on the road, not because you hate stopping, but because you hate cars that you already passed, having to go see them pass you back.
You're in competition.
You're in competition all the time. The morning pee may not be going where you want it to go.
So I don't have that problem.
We talked about urinals and why people can't hit those. We don't know why. That's a point of privilege, by the way. I did not get that. Daydreaming about insane scenarios that where you are the person who swoops in to save the day, landing a plane.
Do you do this or you don't do this?
I think it
You
is
dabble.
natural to guys to do it. I would say that I do it less than the average
Can you
guy.
give me an example of where Ryan Wiggins' mind might go? Keep it clean.
So, yeah, like my mind would, it really does center around my kids. I'm not even trying to make a joke out of it. If I'm in a situation where my kids are near and I think there could be some sort of danger, usually it's something really simple. Not like, ooh, that masked man over there is walking by. I wonder what he's up to. It's more like they're in this spot. A car could come right there. That just simple stuff where you're envisioning the worst case scenario and you're trying to help them avoid it. But you're not doing it for you. You're doing it for somebody else.
I was going to say, is that different than what this is suggesting? Like, this is basically saying that men fantasize about stories that end up in them being a hero.
Being heroes.
Like, the outcome of the fantasy is the
This is
heroic
yes.
nature.
I described something different. You're right. That's more like
I'm just wondering
being
if
a
I'm
protective.
Brad, do you do this?
I've done this since I've been in like junior high or
Give us an
grade
example of hero Brad, and what is your hero name and superpower?
I don't have a hero name or a superpower. Wondering what would happen if somebody broke into the studio with bad intentions.
Like me?
No.
Oh.
Wait, broke in here?
Yeah, or into the office building. I mean,
okay.
You know, people do that. They have threatened us and stuff like that in the past, and so,
people do not like some of the things we say.
That is true. But stuff like that, what would happen if this is weird because this actually happened to me once when I was driving, but I always think about when I'm going around a corner, what would happen if a tire would break or something like that. And I actually had a ball joint go out on the rear of my BMW when we were going around a turn, and it made the car want to go in directions that it wasn't supposed to go.
That's your age.
And,
yeah, when the ball joint goes out.
Yeah, and so I actually was actually able to slow the car down and pull over, and nobody got hurt. But it's just, I don't know, when I was a kid, I was thinking about what would happen if a bully hit me or something like that, you know, or if somebody came into the classroom with bad intentions, like, oh, I stabbed him with my pencil even though I was like 10.
I think about that a lot. What if my third grade bully comes in here and tries to beat up Brad? What would I do?
Give him a pencil.
I think you know what you would
like
do.
a real friend.
Run to the corner.
I think Ryan would laugh.
I'd push him down and be
Ethan,
like,
do you
take that, Doug.
Fantasize about being the hero?
I feel like
Do you fantasize about Brad being the hero?
all the time. It's
Yeah,
oftentimes how I
man,
wake
what
up
would
in the
happen if
morning.
Brad's
It's from
ball
a
joint
dream
broke?
where Brad had just saved the day. On the rarest of occasions, he doesn't, and it just ruins my day.
So in your fantasy, you think Brad could have come to that situation but doesn't?
Yes, most of the time. Not always. Sometimes there's times when he doesn't, and it just wrecks me.
It's rough.
So do you do this or not?
I don't think so. I think mine is more so like I said earlier during Wiggins America, is if a scenario occurred, like an emergency situation, how would I react? Not for the purpose of I need to be hero, but more so like just what would my fight or flight response be?
Right. Yeah, I'm always thinking. But mine are just, it's just anxiety. Just worry about what's the worst thing that can happen. Like sometimes I have to actively actively be like, I cannot think about this anymore.
Do you ever have those, maybe, I hope this is not just me. If it is, then this is going to sound really bad. You ever have those really random thoughts
That's
when
just
you're
you.
when you're driving and you're just like, what if I just like veered off the side of the road
Yes!
right now? Or like,
Yes!
what if at this intersection where cars are going 55 miles per hour, I just floored it right through? Like, you ever have those like...
Or
this-
like if I open, when you're riding with your mom in the car or something like that, what if I just opened the door and jumped out right now? That would be really
Yes!
bad. I shouldn't do that.
I
Okay.
used to. You know, the one I used
So
to
glad
think
I
of
don't know.
was,
I'm not
what
the
if
only
you
one.
ran into those trash cans that were full of water by one of the
yeah.
one of the pylons?
What
or
would
whatever.
that feel like?
What would that be like? So the next one, moving on, is, and I really hope this is not just secrets things that men do, but this is secret things that people do.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Nose picking is more common than you want to go admit.
So common. So common.
I was behind an Amazon driver today on 255, and he was going 60 miles an hour. I don't know why. And also, on 255, there's construction everywhere right now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just name a road.
Where? There are no lines in the roads.
No, there aren't.
None.
There's little dashes
No.
that they're like, this will help a little bit, though.
None.
There's some dashes on 255.
No, not the stretch where I'm getting on. There's a space between 270 and where I get on to 5570. There is a 3-lane 255 highway where they had cones sort of where the left lane would be, and the rest is beautifully paved black. Not a dash, not a dot, not a line.
Okay.
It was like, we're going to put a lot of trust in you people today. And I thought, I don't feel
It's a
comfortable with
social
this.
experiment.
It was. I didn't like it. Behind Amazon driver, finally get around him, go past him. He is picking his nose knuckle deeps. It was
Oh, yeah?
Knuckle deep. Which
See,
knuckle, first or
that's-
second?
And that's the problem. You don't want to go. You don't want to go
God.
index finger. Don't
She
do
held up
index
the
finger.
two.
Oh my
Do
God. Can we
thumb.
please not? What?
Do thumb. Do
Thumb?
thumb. Yeah.
Your thumb fits.
I was going to say the best promotion for the Annie Frey YouTube channel. Come see Ryan Wiggins' enormous nostrils and tiny thumbs.
Tiny little thumb.
It does have pretty.
Look, you
Can we
do
just
go
go
like
to the
that.
next
You
one?
go
have
like
big
that.
nostrils.
You don't have to think about it.
We
You
just go to the next one. I don't want to talk about nose picking.
There's only like 3-4 minutes left on nose.
But Annie,
No, go.
doesn't he have pretty big nostrils?
Oh my God, they're
They are
enormous.
kind of big.
That's why they always called me Canyon Face.
Those are the biggest
Really? That's
nostrils
why.
Yeah.
I think I've ever seen.
They're
You're
pretty
just
huge.
this is just clickbait. My nostrils are the same as everybody else's, but you should come see them online.
Your right
Look,
nostril is
I'm
the
gonna
same as your
hold
left
them up
nostril.
to the camera.
Those are
There.
thumb
I just
nostrils.
made you 25 cents, Annie.
Thumb strolls.
All right.
Ew.
And
I've never.
the things you'll do for money.
I've
Right.
never, ever, ever looked at somebody's nostrils on purpose. I don't.
Now you can. Now it's all you can look at.
Never want to do it
Yeah.
again.
My eyes are up here, Annie.
Ryan's gonna start selling nostril pics on OnlyFans.
Right? Yeah. Hey, if there's a market.
There's not a market. There's no market. There are 3 people in here.
If you
You're 0 for
message him,
3.
he'll even use his thumbs to, do things.
Next one now.
So gross.
I'm playing the music. Which button do I push here?
All right. Next one.
Get some Alanis Morissette up in this place.
Things men secretly do that women don't know about. They actually don't love always being the big spoon in a relationship.
You want to be spooned?
Okay, being the small spoon.
Ethan, do you want to be spooned?
I can't think of a time where I've ever
Not
been like,
have you.
spoon me.
Soundgarden wrote a song about it.
If she cuddles up next to you, like I will sometimes, if my husband's laying on his left side, because he sleeps on the left side of the bed, sometimes if I like get into bed after he is there and I'm cold, it's effectively spooning him, but I'm really just like
surrounding him with warmth.
I'm cuddling up so that I get warm because he's hot. That was for you kids. My kids are disgusted.
Wait, what?
For my children. I'll cuddle up to my husband just to get warm, but I can't imagine him ever be like, "Will you spoon me?" Hey, honey. He's gonna be offended that those words went out over the people's airwaves.
Look, no man is ever gonna say that. That's why it's a secret. It's the whole point.
So should the women listening right now to the Annie Frey show be like, tonight, you get in bed.
Mm-hmm.
He's in there. He's laying in bed, and you snuggle up and you feel like, I know what you want. And
he's
you
gonna
just
say,
spoon him.
"Yeah, you know what I want."
No,
you can't stop there.
You want to be spooned.
If you want to disappoint your man tonight,
That's
then
not
go
what I
ahead and
heard.
do
That's
that.
not. Ryan Wiggins is saying there's a secret here, and that the people need to know, and that is what they want.
If you do that and you say, "Hey, I would like to spoon," he's going to say, "Do you mind if we fork?" Instead.
Sometimes there's just things that have to be said so desperately that everything has to stop in order for them to be said.
Now I really do apologize to my children.
But hey, if you do this, ladies listening, if you do this, if you come up behind your husband and you spoon him tonight, he will be happy. And here's another thing you should do.
That's where it ends, though, right?
Run your fingers through the back of his hair a little bit. Scratch him on the back a little bit, like a little dog. And he will love it. He'll kick his leg, too.
Yeah, the leg will just start twitching.
Yeah.
And then it's just time to go to sleep.
No.
That's right. They don't want to be spooned.
They do.
They don't want to be spooned.
They
but
do
no,
like
they
it.
don't, but they will. They would.
Yeah, as like a road sign on the way.
You want me to spoon? I'll spoon.
Take the exit. Take the exit.
No, listen. They will like it. I guarantee you they will like it. Yes, maybe it goes further.
They will only like it because it's physical touch that might lead to
Yeah,
the fork in the road.
But they like the attention. They like the affection. And yes, if it goes somewhere else, that's great. But not if
it's
not.
It's an A or it's a B.
If you're watching a movie and that's happening in the meantime, great.
Are we
No
doing
problem with
A?
that.
Are we doing B?
A on the way to B.
No.
The whole alphabet doesn't stop at A.
It does for me.
If you don't get to A, it's all pointless, though, right? Or if you don't get to
I
B,
don't know which one is. Yeah, which one's which here?
We're going to take a break and we're going to draw some pictures in a map. And
we are.
We have a dry erase
We're going to
board
draw
right
pictures
here.
of this.
Yeah,
we can game plan this out. X's and O's.
Right next to Sue's list over there.
Oh, what's that guy doing in that picture? What are you drawing? Why are you drawing? Does it work? Put a camera on it.
I love how where we take this to the end. The natural conclusion is it's a secret. But men will spoon if they have to on the way to B.
That's what it takes.
Todd Sivia of Sivia Law, both sides of the river. If you're looking for an estate planning attorney, SiviaLaw.com is the website. You can learn about his offices in Missouri, both Wentzville and Creve Coeur. Waiting for you to make an appointment there, or in Illinois, some right across the river, Edwardsville, East Alton, Swansea, and then a little bit further east and southeast, Centralia and Mount Vernon. So depending on where you're listening at, Todd Sivia is ready to sit down with that initial strategy session for you to talk about establishing a trust, a powers of attorney. This is so important. We're talking about in our poll today about kids leaving for school. If they're 18 and they're gone at school and you need to somehow help them with a money situation or access some sort of health situation, maybe medical records or whatever, you need to have that power of attorney. Reach out to Todd Sivia and have that conversation with him today. Your initial strategy session, free. If you call this number right now and mention my name, one of the first 10 callers, to 833-995-WILL. That's 833-995-WILL. Todd Sivia is my attorney. He should be yours as well. SiviaLaw.com.
Check it out. Sports and local.
Durfin Doniford's Dumpy Dudes.
I hate this one. I hate this one so much.
Dumpy Doos? Why do you hate that?
Why do you hate Dumpy Doos?
Because
what does a Dumpy Do?
Dumpy Doos in
what
it. What do you think a Dumpy Do is?
A poopy diaper.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Duh. Come on.
Is that what they're called?
I don't know. I'm just glad they're having a conversation about something I wrote in like 2 seconds.
Yeah. Speaking of,
what is a Dumpy Do really?
Fantasy is within Ryan Wiggins' mind. He's going Dumpy Do. Dumpy Do.
I just know that JJ, the guy that voices all of our stuff, had never felt lower than in that moment.
No,
probably was questioning everything.
He's cashing checks. He's fine.
Oh yeah, he's doing okay.
He's fine.
But at the same time, he read that with some like serious belly energy. You know, Durfin Doniford's Dumpy Do.
Why do we even need JJ if you can do that?
The Cardinals Dumpy Dude on the Cincinnati Reds last night.
That's professional.
Thank you. 3-0 the final score. Mason Wynn had himself quite the ball game. A home run, 2 doubles, and had a couple of really dazzling plays on defense as well. 3-0 was the final score. Kyle Leahy, 5 shutout innings, giving up only 3 hits. He struck out 6. His ERA over his past 10 games on the mound is around 1.5. He has been one of the best pitchers in baseball over the past 2.5 months. So that's been a great sign. The Cardinals are rolling right now. They've won 10 out of 15. Riley O'Brien got the save in the 9th, his 32nd of the year. He leads the National League in saves. Joshua Baez had an RBI sacrifice fly. The vibes are good right now for the Redbirds.
What's the magic number?
Oh, geez, we're too far from that.
I'm not.
Way too far from that.
Love a good magic number.
We don't even have a wild card spot right now.
Can a magic number exist at all times?
Technically,
in theory?
yeah.
Oh, man.
It just there's a
like
large portion of the year where it
736.
doesn't matter.
It always matters.
Matthew Liberatore facing off against Chase Burns tonight. With another 5.40 first pitch. Libby on the year 5-10 with a 5.07 ERA. So he hasn't had the best of seasons, but it's been very spotty. It typically is either really good or really bad from him. So who knows? Maybe they'll get a really good outing from Libby tonight.
Magic numbers and wild cards. What is this, a David Blaine show?
You guys remember a couple of...
You could have let that sit even longer, Ethan.
Really? You wanted to?
I just want him to think about what he's doing.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
Good? All right, good. Was it at the beginning of this week or was it late last week that we had our segment with animals on the roads?
It was mostly of last week.
Was that last week?
It was Thursday. It was mostly Thursday,
It was
some
Wednesday.
Friday.
Oh. Thursday
Yeah,
and Friday?
Thursday
I
and
was going to
Friday.
say Wednesday and Thursday. I know it was when Trisha was in here.
Yeah.
Because she, too, had animal news.
Yes, she did.
Yes.
Well, one of these stories has another leg to it. On August 18th, which was yesterday, PETA announced a $5,000 reward to anyone with information leading to an arrest and conviction of whoever is behind abandoning 4 guinea pigs alongside the old Highway N in Lake St. Louis.
That is some serious bread from PETA.
You tell me.
We only get 8 seconds, so just within the 8
Okay,
seconds.
got it. Got it. The public information
I love
officer.
how Ethan and I are trying not to laugh, and Brad is just super disappointed.
Brad's just like with a deep
Yeah.
sigh, shaking his
And
head.
Yeah, he's
an
not
official
amused.
thumbs down.
I think he genuinely does not like that stuff.
Well, I don't blame him.
I blame
I'm
him.
just weaker.
It's really good.
The public information officer for the O'Fallon, Missouri Police Department says that on August 9th, 2 plastic balls were found beside.
Knock it off. And now he laughs.
just
All you had to do the whole time, Ethan, for this guy in the corner, is say the word balls.
It was just.
Listen to
I
you.
wasn't going to laugh
Listen
until
to the
I
chorus
heard Wiggins laugh.
of dude giggles,
Wiggins went.
also called
That's a
giggles.
That's a contagious giggle too.
That's what did it. That's what entirely. What
You
did
gonna
it.
jump off that cliff into the ocean, buddy, or you got 2 plastic ones?
What?
Common things said.
On August,
Ethan, take it from the top
I'll
there.
try this again.
Okay,
On
go.
August 9th, 2 plastic balls were found beside the road in nearly 95-degree weather. With
You guys
2
did that one much better. Thank you.
Well, we knew it was coming.
Okay, so not as fun.
With 2 guinea pigs crammed into each. They were spotted by a Good Samaritan who had found that 3 of them had died. The lone survivor was taken by the Good Samaritan to a nearby vet to recover. A junior corporate responsibility officer, that is quite the title with PETA, tells Fox
Wait,
2.
whoa. A PETA junior corporate responsibility officer.
You got it.
Okay.
That's there's no
Can
there's
we,
no
Ethan,
there's
or
no sort of
Ryan, can we send you just to interview for that
alliteration for
job?
That's such a boring title. PETA, you'd think that they were radicals. They'd be like, ooh, let's call ourselves the Junior
JCRO.
Corporate
JCRO.
Responsibility Officers.
Yeah, it is pretty boring.
The senior
Like
ones are back
warrior
in the
or
office.
something like that.
Told Fox 2 that the organization hopes to see whoever is responsible for dumping the guinea pigs held accountable for their actions. So
The guinea pig story is kind of a sad story.
It is sad. I can promise you this: if there is an update on this, I am going to be
It'll be
passing
here
it along to
at this time.
the Andy Fry Show faithful.
Thank you.
That
So
is
so
for
those
sure.
those guinea pigs were dumped. I thought for a minute there that maybe guinea pigs came in balls naturally.
You guys suck.
I just don't like you. You've got to stop this. You have a problem.
Like maybe that was, the way creation God intended guinea pigs to be. Was born in a ball.
Just one?
Well, each one would get its own.
I love how you're like, well, according to science. One more?
This segment's falling apart. It's falling apart. Yeah, sure. Why not?
It's pretty optimistic to think that it was ever, together.
Yeah, let's see what you can do with this one. The St. Louis County Council approved a proposal on Tuesday that aims to curb panhandling by prohibiting aggressive solicitation and restricting where and when people can ask for money in public. The proposal, introduced by Councilman Mike Archer, passed 6-1 by the County Council. It now heads to County Executive Sam Page for review. Panhandling, the act of asking a passerby for money in public spaces. The proposal would prohibit solicitation in several locations and situations, including on buses or bus stops, interstate entrances or exit ramps, within 15 feet of banks and ATMs, on private property after the owner has asked someone to leave.
Before that's
unbelievable.
okay. All right.
From drivers approaching or stopped in traffic.
Oh, that's the one.
And during inclement weather.
Today, I don't know if you guys experienced this. Today there was a woman. Yesterday was a man. The man you would recognize because he's there with some frequency. Lots of facial hair. In the middle of the lane.
This is the one that holds the cup and just
He
kinda
does have a
shakes it?
cup.
Yep.
This woman today didn't even have any, she was meandering about like she was Like, it's the same action I took this morning when I was in my kitchen, but I remembered my computer was in my living room, but then my coffee was in here, and I put some stuff in the car, but then I had to run back in to get my key. She was just kind
Going
of
back and forth
wandering
in the road.
around.
I know who that lady is,
traffic.
too. I've seen her, too.
And I mean, she didn't. You can usually tell if these people are under some sort of influence or whatever. She just looked like she didn't care.
Right.
And I just thought there are too many people not paying enough attention when there's a green light. Like the dude yesterday when I was going home, it was right down by the stoplight by the gas station.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of came around, on Tucker. I kind of came around the corner there a little bit, and a lot of times that light is green, but it looks like it's going to be red because the turn light is red.
Yes.
People are stopping in the right lane to go to the gas station, and you go into the left lane, and you kind of go a little faster. He was in the middle of that lane, green light, and I'm like, this guy is about to die.
Dangerous spot.
It's dangerous for everybody. Man. And it's every day.
It is every day.
Make it stop. It's not safe for anybody.
That's what they're trying to do. Well, that's not in St. Louis City, though, is it?
This is for St. Louis County.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So the St. Louis City problems. I had another one of those yesterday. I was going to a gas station, and it's a 4-lane road, 5 if you include the turn lane. There was nobody else on the road, and I'm going down the middle right side, so not quite the turn lane. And there was a woman who looked like she had been a homeless version of Kim Kardashian for like 3 years.
What does that mean?
Like she looked like she was like
a fixer-upper.
She kind of had herself together, but she had seen some things
on
also.
hard times.
Yeah. And she's coming down the road right at my car on a tiny electric bike. And I'm like, well, this is a different situation. But she would not move. And I'm like, my car's just idling. I don't know how to turn to get out of your way. And you're coming right at my car. And I was like, I'm going to hit you if you don't. I can't move the car. So it was crazy.
There's absolutely no words. The proposal also calls for a solicitation ban between sunset and 9 a.m. every day. It would make it illegal for anyone to solicit money in an aggressive manner defined to include scenarios such as touching someone without consent, following someone in a threatening or intimidating way, containing to solicit after someone declines, and using obscene or abusive language when asking for money. Page has 15 days to formally approve or veto the legislation, and if no action is taken, the measure will take effect as a new county ordinance.
Gosh, something has to be done for the safety of everybody, including the people who are doing the panhandling. It's just not a safe place to be. The YouTube poll, we're going to talk about this a little bit more in depth when we come back. For parents, which is harder, bringing new kids home or watching grown children leave? Monica sent a message to the Annie Frey Show Facebook page. This is what she said. Monica said, my daughter left for college today and took the dog.
Oof.
Ouch.
Double whammy.
Monica, we're with you. Stick with it. We'll be right back. Air Comfort Service online at aircomfortservice.com. The phone number is 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091. I want to encourage you to entrust Air Comfort Service with the responsibility of getting your HVAC back up and running. If it's not doing what it's supposed to do, it's running all the time, and your house isn't getting cool the way it should be, you probably need to make a call. 314-513-0091. They provide a service call 24/7 emergency service. Doesn't matter if it's a holiday, a weekend, day, night, whatever. If you need them to come, they will be ready to come. So 314-513-0091. Throw that number into your phone and save it for a time when you might unfortunately need it. They've been helping people just like you and me in my house as well for 60 years. And they have won many awards, including the BBB Torch Awards. There's lots of accolades, but I'll tell you personally, as a customer of theirs, they do wonderful work. They're very respectful of your home, and they will get you back in your comfort zone as soon as possible. Find them online at aircomfortservice.com.
For parents, which is harder, bringing new children home or watching grown children leave? We've been asking you that question on the YouTube live chat poll all day. Here's a comment from the text line. It says, to be clear, the youngest was 23 when he moved out. With the risk of him never leaving the house, it was frightening. Little different take there. So I'm assuming that means bringing them home was harder. 2:36. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We're happy to be with you, and I want you to make sure that you hit us up on the YouTube channel with your votes for this poll question. I started reading at the beginning of the hour, I guess it was the show, in the noon hour. I was talking to you about this article about Patricia Heaton. She was saying that when her kids left the home, when they finally were out, she said it was right before COVID, she asked herself the question, the things that had always anchored me, my family and my work were gone. I started thinking, what am I supposed to do today? Do you, your oldest ones are 12? Your twins are 12?
Yep, twins are 12.
What is the, when you think about the kids in the future, how old are they in that future that you imagine? Like for my son right now, of course, I'm thinking college and what's next. For my daughter, my oldest daughter, it was high school because this is her first year in high school now. So you kind of incrementally go through anticipation. You know that there's this huge big picture, but you kind of take it in spoonfuls. What's the incremental future you're thinking about right now with two 12-year-olds as your oldest?
I don't know that this is the actual answer to your question, but I can't think of my kids as older than their 20s.
So you can think of them post-high school?
Yeah. And I guess what I'm thinking about right now is what are they going to be like when they're in high school and they're driving and stuff like that? Where are they going to go to college? But that's about as far out as I can project. I guess it would be a fun exercise to picture them as being the same age as me or just really old people.
Do you ever think about your parents being your age right now? And, you're juggling all the things. You're trying to make the money meet where it needs to be. You guys both have spouses who work. So do I, obviously. Do you ever look back and think about when your parents were? It's weird to think that your parents were our age, in their 40s, doing all the things while we were kids in junior high, high school, that type of an age. It just feels I feel too young to be as old as I thought my parents were at that time.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about there. And the weird thing is, too, to look at them and think, man, when I was a kid, my parents had all this all together, and they knew exactly what they were doing.
Oh, you definitely don't know that they don't.
No.
Do you think your parents, or do you think your kids look exactly,
yeah,
they would look at you the same way?
I think they do.
Yeah, that's that childlike trust.
I experience that all the time. I don't know if that's normal, but on a probably weekly basis, I'm doing something and I think, oh, my parents have been here and I understand them more.
Do you talk to them about it?
No.
Isn't that kind of weird too? Like, shouldn't we be?
Probably, but it's just such little things that it's not something that you remember next time I go see them, unless it was something major, milestone oriented, that I go, oh yeah, or I remember when you took me to kindergarten for the first time or whatever it was. Maybe that would come up. But if it's little things like managing your finances in light of your daughter wanting to get braces, it's like I'm not going to remember to talk about that with my parents. Yet I am thinking about the time when, I was here. How did they handle that? Did they have to sacrifice anything for me to do that? Like we are now and things like that.
Yeah, I think it's one thing to talk about finances and how to manage it and stuff like that, but it's a completely another thing if you're shielding your child from the struggle and the worry. Mm-hmm. I mean, you don't want to build up anxiety within them. You know, you're built differently as an adult, and you can handle the stress differently than a kid can. And so,
Don't you think your kid should know that that money is not always there?
Yeah, but that happens in a very natural way, and you're
Yeah.
going to know exactly what I'm talking about when you tell them no, because they ask for stuff all the time. That
But
usually
you can tell your kids no because you're the dad, and you can tell them
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I think it's important to say to my kids sometimes, nope, we can't afford that right now.
I do say that. I'd say,
Yeah.
no, it costs too much.
Yeah, like they need to know that there are limitations,
Mm-hmm.
and that when we're busting our butts as parents to try to make ends meet and provide the things that we choose to provide, that took work, and also sacrifice, which is where the no, we can't afford that right now comes in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Prioritization and so on and so forth. Do you have any text messages you want to get to? 314-241-9797 on the which is harder, bringing new kids home or watching grown children leave?
This says, watching them leave for college, I knew this was the beginning of them leaving forever. Bringing them home was the beginning, exciting, with no end in sight.
With no end in sight. That's true.
This one says, Rome's here. Hi, Rome's.
Hi, Rome's.
Bringing them home for the first time. And here's the explanation. Very, very cool story. Well, I guess cool. It just says, I have twin girls. They were so small and had to have oxygen when they ate and heart monitoring when they slept. Alarms would go off if they stopped breathing during sleep, and we would jump to go wake them. They are now 22 and engaged, and life is great.
Amen.
That's cool.
Good for yeah. I think that when you are raising babies, especially the first ones, you don't know anything. And like maybe there's more access to information now than there was in 2009 when I was when I had my son. There certainly was the internet, and I read baby center newsletters that told me, okay, your child is the size of a peanut, and you're 6 weeks pregnant or whatever it might be. But that carried on into life, so I would read those, and I was loyal to opening those and reading them, but I don't think information was as prevalent. It's almost probably too much information almost now on the internet. Like you can pick a path and go wherever you want with the consumption of advice that takes place.
We actually got that very advice because we were, this was 2014 when we were having the twins, and my wife had so much information. She's a researcher, so she just wanted all of it. But she was told we had so many books, all these different books about it, and they're not small books, most of them. So she was really reading a lot.
What to
she was
expect?
getting anxious because there was so much advice. She's like, I can't do all this. And somebody told her, just pick one and do that thing. And so you're still using advice, but you got to pick a lane and just be like, that's going to be the thing. We're going to do that. And it kind of
And with
shoved all the
parenting
rest away.
too, like you can pick one thing and go, I don't like this, and then just pick another.
I mean, once they're born, then you're just sort of, well, now we're doing it.
Yeah.
It's leading up to it that you're like, ooh, how's this going to work?
Brad,
And
you
plan
have
so much.
more YouTube reaction over there?
I do. Scooter says a newborn is a full-time job, and it's much harder. And then
That's true. I mean, the attention, the quantity of attention required when it is solely your responsibility to provide this thing with everything it needs whenever it needs it is hard. Very hard.
This text comes from Julia. She may have sent one earlier that was very poetic, and sorry that I lost that one because when a lot come in, I can't always mark all of them.
Use small words, people.
But this one says, it's from Julia. It says, the baby cries when they come home from the hospital. The mama cries when they leave for college. Annie, it says both can be hard and both are completely worth it.
That's true.
And then one right afterwards,
She stuck
I'm
the
not
landing.
sure is completely about this topic, but I really like the comment, so I'm going to read it anyway. It says, I often fantasize about being Matlock.
You're not sure if it's about this topic?
I'm not really sure what that's about at all.
There's a part of you right now that's like, ooh, I don't know. Is this more like the baby time or the... Which one is it?
Try to apply it to the poll.
It's just I have a mental struggle right now, and I don't know what to do. We'll give you the results, and Ryan will get his act together over the break. We'll be right back. Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage is the guy to call for your new mortgage on a new home purchase. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Reach out to Stewie. I have 2 times used the bagel loan from Stewart's American Mortgage. Both times were refinances. One of those 2 times was a cash out refinance to improve the deck on the back of our home. If you are looking for a mortgage improvement situation, if you're looking to tap into some of the equity that's in your home, if you're looking to purchase a new home, the bagel loan is sitting there waiting for you. I promise you'll be so glad you sent this text, made this phone call at 314-324-4440. For you new home buyers, if you're looking for a 30-year loan, you're going to be able to use the bagel loan and enjoy a special offer, a special opportunity from Stewie right now if you call or text. A 1% discount on the first year of that new mortgage, that new 30-year loan. Take a 1% discount on the first year and no closing costs with that bagel loan. 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan for more information. NMLS number 226715. Little Annette Funicello for you on a Wednesday afternoon. We appreciate your votes today in the YouTube live chat poll. A lot of feedback, too, as well. Let's go to the text line, 314-241-9797. We've been asking you all through the day for parents, which is harder, bringing new kids home, watching grown kids leave.
This one's not completely related to that, but it's not Matlock-oriented either. I'm going to read it. It says from Bonnie, she says, for the Christian, your conversation should reflect Ephesians 5:4. Great political interviews, spoiled by sophomoric potty talk. Nose picking, really? Can't you upgrade your humor?
Prayer emoji.
Oh, and then the or the hands.
Somebody said that the prayer emoji, they get that confused. Some people think it's a high five. What?
Oh, I could see that.
I saw it. I can't unsee it, but I'm like, no, you don't. It's like the natural next step in the war on Christmas. It's the war on the prayer emoji.
Mm-hmm.
Bonnie, I am a sinner. I ask for your forgiveness for my coworker's sophomore humor.
And if you can find it in your heart, I'm gonna guess that we will completely stop doing it.
Unless you
now
two
that,
are, unless you two are sinners.
I'm going to probably need to
we'll
repent of that
out.
also because that
was a lie.
That was a lie.
Bonnie, sorry. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. Oftentimes it's not my cup of tea either, but yet here we are. More questions actually on the poll or just more, criticisms of the show in general? Let us have them.
Sure. This one says, for me, bringing home a new baby was a joyous event. When my oldest left for college in New York, I cried.
Yeah.
Later, we became empty nesters, and my wife and I get along better than ever, says Bill. So there's a silver lining there.
Yeah, that's good. I'm kind of excited about that time. And people, I remember some I had some friends whose parents got separated after the last kid moved out. And I remember hearing them say, one of the parents said, I just wish it was like it was when they were little. And I, as a kid, I was like, what are you talking about? And now I'm like, I think I get that now, that there's just an entirely different way of life, flow to life when the kids are little. And then when they're gone, now you just have to look inward at yourself, at your spouse, and you have to make sure you, A, like yourself, and B, like your spouse, which is why there's all of the advice when you're raising kids to still date your spouse over and over and over again. More with the sophomore humor. Ryan, go ahead. I can just tell by your face. Get it together.
I just want to read a text. It's really my favorite one of the day. It says this: I often fantasize about being Matlock. I don't know why that's cracking me up, but who is looking at Andy Griffith and being like, I want to be that?
You're reading that same text again?
Yeah.
That sounds like a text message you sent the show.
I mean, we can go into one here that says nose picking. Semi-driver here. Car passed me on 64, and the driver was yanking nose meat hard.
No, stop it. Anything on the pole?
Yeah. This one says, Linda here, when they leave, you never quit worrying about them.
Yeah. When they're born.
Yeah, you kind of never stop.
Well, but maybe the implication is maybe when they're gone that kind of alleviates. No. I think that's what they're probably saying is just because they're not there doesn't mean they're not in your head and on your brain and on your heart all the time and in your prayers. Brad, you got any over there?
Yeah. The mad computer scientist says watching kids grow up and leave is bittersweet. And then Jackie says when kids leave and when sons get married, that one hits me hard.
When sons get married. I wonder if that's a mom. Or I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Do you feel you've got two sons and a daughter? Do you think about the day that you give your daughter away?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I do, because the phrase you just used the phrase that I don't like.
Give her away.
Giving her away. I guess you are, but I just don't like that idea that she's gone now.
Do you remember when you got married and then you woke up the next day and it was just like a Sunday?
Yeah.
And now you're married, but really everything's the same, but now you're married.
100% I remember
So it's
that.
like wedding. For us, it was like 7 or 8 months of wedding planning, budgeting, all of this stuff. Did you get everything done? To-dos. And then you have the day, and I had a wonderful wedding, wonderful party. Everything went perfectly. And then I remember the next day being like, oh, okay, I guess we go to the store today. What is it that you do? I wonder if that same kind of, if there's this anticipation as a parent when you're going to give away your daughter or watch. I think it's probably different with daughters and sons too. I bet you lose a little bit more of your son than you do your daughter.
I remember we scheduled our honeymoon for pretty close to after our wedding for that very reason. We didn't want to settle into normal life yet. We wanted to be
ride the high.
Oh, this is new. Let's go experience it. Because I've heard that that's a trend, and maybe it still is. At the time, this was 2007, that people would delay their honeymoon for months so that they could have, and basically it becomes just a vacation together. And we said, no, we want to have a real honeymoon where we go somewhere together and say that we did. And we went to Mexico, and we will never go back to that part of Mexico because it was not a great honeymoon. But it was nice to be together.
There was that. All right. Well, what are you gonna say here, Ryan? For parents, what do you think?
Because my lived experience is that bringing children home was so hard, and it's funny. People said at the time, looking back on it, that you'd be very thankful for it, and I am. I look back on it very fondly, but I will always remember how hard that was.
Yeah, Brad, do you have an anticipation of how our viewers are going to vote, listeners?
I think that they're going to vote watching them go, but
I think that's a smart play on our listeners and the people who are with us right now, because I think a lot of people are experiencing this. I don't know. I feel like watching grown children leave, that's what I would vote. You all voted as well. 31% said bringing children home. And 69% said watching your grown children leave. Mark Reardon Show next on 97.1 FM Talk.